Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the new screensavers is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. The new screensavers is brought to you by Whole Home. Whole Home is more than a smart thermostat. It's a home energy controller that helps you save money and displays your energy use in real time. For a 30% discount, visit wholehome.com/twit. And by Texture, the mobile app that lets you access the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere, using your phone or tablet. For your free 30-day trial, visit texture.com/NSS. And by Wealthfront. Wealthfront is a low-cost automated investment service that's the most sophisticated way for you to invest your money. Whether you've got millions or you're just starting out, visit wealthfront.com/NSS to sign up and get your free personalized investment portfolio. That's wealthfront.com/NSS.
An Academy Award-winning monster maker, the creators of the Friday the 13th video game, and a man who hunts ghosts. Live from the Twit Brick House in beautiful downtown Petaluma, it's the new Screensavers.
It's time for the new Screensavers. Leo Laporte.
I'm Father Robert Ballacer.
Nice costume, Bobby.
I'm an exorcist.
Are you the young priest or the old priest?
I'm the dead one.
Episode 26. It's Halloween, if you hadn't guessed, October 31st, 2015. And I'm so glad to have you. We're going to have an amazing show.
It looks good.
Yeah, coming up in just a bit, if you're a fan of The Walking Dead or Aliens or Predator, the Academy Award-winning monster maker who created those creatures and others is here to talk about his craft.
We also have the developer of the Friday the 13th game. I mean, if you want a Halloween tie-in, this is going to be it. So, yeah, you got to stay tapped for that.
And it wouldn't be Halloween without a visit from a Ghostbuster, a true real-life paranormal investigator who's actually going to investigate across the street for us.
Which does need some investigation.
There's some weird stuff coming out of there, I'll tell you.
Oh, and by the way, we are a tech network, so we're going to be answering some of your tech questions.
Crazy.
Just a bit, yeah.
Let's start with a look at the news. And, of course, the big story this week, South by Southwest, an amazing conference which each spring in Austin brings together the whole geek community to talk about things that are important. Unfortunately, South by Southwest decided to cancel 2 panels due to pressure from online harassers. Joining us to talk about it right now, 2 of the panelists who were canceled. Brianna Wu, who of course is no stranger to online harassment, and Arthur Chu, who you may remember from Jeopardy. He was the guy who came up with those brilliant strategies, but he's also written a number of articles about this subject. Brianna, what was your panel going to be about?
Well, it was going to be on, I think the focus that we were really going for was women of color and how they face harassment in different ways than white women do. Basically, Shireen Mitchell and I did a really fantastic panel together at BlogHer this year, and we wanted to bring that message to South by Southwest, and it was just very, very frustrating working with the organizers. Author wrote a wonderful piece about it that was very accurate about how, systematically we tried to warn them and warn them and warn them that, basically this train wreck was coming, and they didn't listen. And here we are today. So it's a very frustrating situation for everybody.
They, due to threats from, I don't want to say Gamergate folks, due to threats from online trolls, they decided for everybody's safety and security to cancel your panel and a panel that was about Gamergate, right?
Well, let's be specific. There were 2 harassment panels that were kind of being planned with, figures that have been targeted by Gamergate repeatedly. Right. We were on the second one, but, other than that small detail, that is correct.
Yeah. And of course, I know Brianna, just the stuff that you've had to put up with is horrific.
It's been a really hard year. I really would have guessed a year ago that I would have been in court at this point to, prosecute one of the over 180 death threats that I've gotten this year. And, we talk to the FBI all the time and nothing is done. Yeah. And it's a very scary situation out there for women.
I had to say that my initial reaction when South by canceled those two panels was that they had caved. They basically let the harassers win. Was that your reaction?
That was basically it. I think they were sending a signal out there that would have had a very terrible precedent that, all you need to do is to threaten a venue and then, basically the people you're targeting will not get a chance to speak. So, I don't think it's just terrible for women in tech to have this. I think it's terrible overall. So I don't know how Arthur feels, but I got very little software development done this week because I thought it was really important to step up to the plate and get South by Southwest to do the right thing.
Arthur, it sounds like you saw this coming. Your article in the Daily Beast preceded the cancellation.
No, it was after the cancellation.
It was after the cancellation, but it chronicled a lot of problems even leading up to the cancellation.
Yeah, I just felt like South by Southwest didn't understand that this is a serious issue. I mean, I wrote a column, I titled it "This Is Not a Game."
Yeah.
And I felt like we were talking about something very serious. We were saying this is an organized harassment campaign. If you put these panels online to be, voted on and commented on, you're going to get flooded with trolls, and nobody listened. And as a result, things escalated and escalated till we got to where we are now. And, the ironic thing is those panels would have been about how we can build systems and set up, events so that we can cut these things off at the pass, rather than, encourage people to exhibit this kind of mob behavior.
Yeah.
But Brianna, I do want to throw this out. I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here because everyone knows that Twit TV, we stand against trolls, we stand against cyber stalking, we stand against just a lot of, let's call it illegal activity that happens by people who hide under anonymity. But I can also take a step back and see it from the eyes of an organization wondering, is this a fight that we want to fight? Because any organization that has picked up the banner of anti-harassment gets trashed. It's a no-win scenario, and it seems as if we'd like someone to be the spokesperson for the bullied and for the bruised and for the people who are harassed, but it's very difficult to be that front person.
I can understand that point of view. I think that the truth is, though, this is a fight that we're all in. I mean, we all have, sisters, we all have partners, we all have, mothers, we all have women in our lives. And, we got to this point because it's been 30 years, at least of my experience in the tech industry, of not taking women seriously. And, I've seen this problem has steadily grown worse and worse and worse and worse. And I think when, it gets to this point, where you have women being run out of our homes, when you have SWAT teams being sent to people's houses and their parents' houses, I think that when you have the largest school shooting in history threatened, I think that's a point where this discussion rises above the convenience of the organization. I think it's really worth pointing out, if you look at other large conferences, if you look at GDC, if you look at PAX, if you look at PAX Prime, if you look at Grace Hopper, over and over and over and over again, these organizations have looked at it and they've said, yes, this is a discussion worth having and we will make it safe. And I think you can read authors, piece, and any of your viewers can make up their own minds and see that this was a systematic failure every single step of the way.
And most importantly, this is clearly a problem that we as the internet community have to solve. And what better place to do that than at South by Southwest? They did announce, in response to a lot of criticism this week, an all-day conference on harassment, and they've invited a huge number of speakers to that. Is that, to you, is this a satisfactory resolution of this?
Well, I think what many of the women involved with this found very frustrating is, I can't tell you what our private conversations were behind the scenes, but I will say, it has been reported that, and I agree with this, that when we got the news, all of us were shocked that Gamergate was going to be up there on that stage right next to us. Now, maybe it's because I'm a software engineer, but I tend to feel very pragmatic about this. So for me personally, I think there's a chance for a bigger conversation to happen. And in talking to BuzzFeed and talking to, Recode and Vox and other reporters, I think that this is going to be a very quality event. So I personally am willing to deal with that sense of, I think threat would be an accurate word. These are people that in the original panel, these are people that have been suspended from Twitter for, harassing me personally. So
you're going to meet these people in person on this stage?
That was the original plan. Now, I can't divulge what's going on behind the scenes. I can say we're currently negotiating that because a lot of the women involved don't feel that way. And I know Author doesn't feel that way as well. So, I think that we got to this point by not listening to any of the women involved. Yeah. And I think what's kind of ironic is South by Southwest made the situation worse because they didn't listen to the women involved even this week.
Brianna, yeah. Arthur, I want to throw a question to either of you, and that is one of the issues I've heard about Gamergate is it's very difficult to describe what it is without personally taking a stand. It's almost as if any description you give is going to put you on the side of either the people who say we want more ethical integrity in game reporting, or those people who say, how could you be such a horrible troll, XXX? Oh. I want to get your input on perhaps stepping past that and saying, is it possible to get people together and say, no matter what side you are on Gamergate, it's not okay to threaten physical violence. It's not okay to intrude on someone's personal living space because you disagree with them. Because that's one of the things that makes the news all the time and then gets tied into the generic Gamergate controversy.
If I can say something about this, it's very frustrating how the press sometimes, depict us as being on one side or another side. I can say for me, my only side is wanting to do my job without constant rape, death threats, constant harassment, constant assaults to my character. That's the only side I'm on. And I sometimes feel that because tech is such a male-dominated environment, that you have women being targeted with criminal behavior on one side, you have criminal harassment on the other, and then you have some dudes in the middle saying, well, let's all come to some agreement here. The only thing I want is to do my job. Now, I understand there's some people out there that feel threatened by, some feminists like myself that are advocating more hiring of women in the video game industry. It's not a position I agree with, but they're welcome to have that opinion. I think that everyone involved does agree that these kind of criminal harassment that is beyond the pale. So,
I mean, the way I see it, it's kind of like the really scary stuff, the death threats, the rape threats, those are like the foam on the tide. Those are the most obvious signs of harassment, but that only happens after you've had this sort of sustained wave of people saying these people are inherently suspect, these people inherently don't belong in our community, and we're going to police everything that they do and everything that they say and pour through. This is where the ethics and journalism thing comes from. There are certain people who are suspected of being corrupt, and we have to pour through everything they do for signs of wrongdoing. And when you have that happening, then the most extreme level of that ends up being death threats and rape threats and swatting and all that. But it comes from what they're disingenuously framing as just asking questions, just providing criticism, but it's not coming from a genuine place because there's never any answer to the criticism that satisfies them. And this is what I said when the panel picker process started, that if you take people who are known victims of harassment and you throw them into the into the Shark Tank and just say, we're going to open this up to public comment and debate and not intervene at all, then you are calling forth attention that's going to lead to bad things. And it did lead to bad things. And this is the conversation we need to have, that you can't just have this sort of neutral position where you let things happen, you let it play out, and you see who wins. That's how the trolls win. This is the kind of environment they prefer.
We're going to wrap it up because we've gone long on this, and I think we just lost Brianna as well.
No, I'm right here.
Oh, you're still there? Okay, I heard somebody disappear. Brianna and Arthur, are you going to take part in this all-day symposium at South by? Have you decided that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, I am always looking for conversation where I can find it,
Yes.
dialogue where I can find it, and I'm always looking for opportunities where we can have more light than heat. So it's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm in.
Good.
Me
Yeah.
personally, I said I was out when I found out the Gamergate panel had been approved, and they had actually said they wouldn't approve it, which they probably shouldn't have said, but then they did approve it. And that was just a level of unprofessional behavior. I was just like, South by Southwest doesn't have my back. And I respect Rihanna's choice to do it, but they're not paying me, and they're not paying travel and lodging even, and I have other things to do. So
Fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough. The conversation continues, but I think one thing everybody, well, not everybody, but 99.9% of us can agree on is that, everybody has the right to participate in the internet, to do their job without being threatened and harassed, and that we as a community have to do something about it.
It speaks about who we are. I mean,
Yeah.
If we want a free internet, we kind of have to police ourselves.
Yep.
And this is part of it.
Yep. Brianna, thank you so much for your time and my sympathy for what you've had to go through, and I appreciate your standing up there and still putting yourself out there, not running away.
I appreciate it. I'm not going anywhere, I promise.
Good. That's great. Arthur, we thank you so much, too, for the work you've done covering this, and I hope you'll continue to do so, and we continue to talk.
thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Arthur Chu, Brianna Wu, and we'll continue, I think, to cover this story. It's not the end of this by any means.
This is one of those stories that so many people are sick of hearing about it, but this is important stuff.
It's not
this
stopped.
Is very
That's the
important
point.
stuff.
It's not. If it had gone away, maybe we could stop talking about it. But it's not going away, as you've heard Brianna say. All right, something on a lighter note. I got the new Apple TV, and I wanted to show it to you. And I also got, just because I thought, well, I got to try it, I got a controller to go with it. This is the
this is nice.
Stratus Steel for the Steel Series gaming controller. It's a Bluetooth gaming controller designed for iOS. And Apple's selling it on their store. It's about $50 to go with the Apple TV. We've got it set up. The Apple TV, right away you're going to say, well, it looks exactly like the old Apple TV, except it's a lot heavier,
a
a
little
lot
heavier.
thicker.
Probably a tiny bit higher. I think they put more.
There's more going on
gadgetry
in here. This is an A8 processor, same processor in the iPhone 6. I got the 64 gig memory. They say get the 32 if you don't think you're going to be adding a lot of games, but if you want to install games, you probably should get the extra memory.
You're going to have a lot of stuff on your Apple TV.
Yeah.
So why not?
Well, the first thing, in fact, let's show the interface on the screen. First thing that's taken up a lot of space, but I love this screensaver. You could, by the way, somebody's already made a way to download this and put it on your Macintosh. The screensaver is of aerial shots. It moves. It's beautiful. You're going to just want to leave your TV on all day. But as soon as you get out of it, you'll see the new Apple TV. Looks somewhat similar to the old Apple TV, except for a sparse number of icons. That's because, unlike the old Apple TV, it only comes with a few things pre-installed. You have an app store, and you're going to be installing everything else, even Netflix, even Showtime, all the other stuff, even YouTube. Let's go up to the app store real quickly, and you'll see that there's a variety of apps. I think at last count, about 63 apps. There's games, there's video. There's even some kind of iOS-y apps, but every app that's going to be on this store is going to have to be written specifically for the Apple TV. We're very pleased that 3 different developers have already done Twit apps. So when you go in there, of the 63 apps, there'll be 1, 2, 3 Twit apps. So I'm not going to play favorites. This one with the blue icon is from ShiftKey Software, Craig Mullaney, who did our app for Roku and for iOS. I think he's even done an Android app. And these are 2 new apps. These are based on our API, and I don't have the names of the developers here, and I apologize. But I thank you, all of you. These 2 are 99 cents. Craig's is free. But I think they're all really good. I'll just give you an idea. We're watching live. You can also see a list of shows. This is all pulled from the API. I'm really happy to see it because it kind of proves to me that the API that we have spent so much money and time on actually works. So that's really good news. But let's talk about the biggest change in here. Besides the fact that you can install apps, you can play games. You've never played Crossy Road.
I have never played Crossy Road.
One of the things they showed at the announcement was multiplayer Crossy Road, so that I could play with this remote. This is the new remote, and you could play with the joystick. By the way, the remote, let's just quickly spend a little time on this. It's a little bit bigger. This is a touchpad, so it swipes and you can even click it. It has a physical click. They've also added a Siri button. I'll show you that in just a little bit. Did I get squished already?
You got eaten by something.
I got already
something,
squished. You have to turn
ate
that
you.
on the bottom, I think, to use it here.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, and then...
do your thing, chicken.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to play multiplayer. The idea is you're going to run across the road. So this is kind of cool. You can actually start to play.
It's Frogger.
It's Frogger. You've never played Crossy Road?
I have never played Crossy Road.
Awesome game. Awesome game. As you can see, I'm brilliant at it. Oh, no!
Oh, why did the chicken cross the road?
Not for that reason. But let's go back because I want to show you some of the Siri features. And these are features they demonstrated a little bit earlier. I'm going to exit out of this. You press the Siri button. You have to press to talk. She's not always listening. And you have to wait till she says hello. Show me James Bond movies. This does a search across platforms, which I like. But watch this. Starring Sean Connery. It remembers the... Well, wait a minute. That didn't do it quite right. Show me... Let me do it again. Show me James Bond movies with Sean Connery. That might help. There we go.
Levels of search.
Just James Bond
this.
movies with Sean Connery. And when I click on one, let's just pick one, it'll show me where it is. Now, right now, it's limited. This doesn't show you every possible place. This is the iTunes store. I would love it if it would search everywhere. That may be in a matter of time. I haven't played with it long enough to know which stores it searches. But let's watch something on Netflix real quick because I'd like to show you another really nice feature.
I have to say, I'm already impressed with the audio interface. It got your voice just right.
Yeah, and I have to say, it's very easy to use the swiping to navigate. It's a very natural way to do it. So we're going to watch a little bit of the British Office. Let's just skip ahead. Oh, you see that? I can swipe right through it like that. Isn't that cool?
Well, but does it enable voice commands on this as well?
Watch this.
I'll be all right. But if there does have to be a cull, then so be it.
What did he just say?
I mean, that's just natural.
It now rewinds 15 seconds.
No.
And turns on the
That's not okay. That is cool. I like that. I have not seen that before.
I'm not worried for me.
After 15 seconds, it
but
turns
if
it off.
there does have to be a cull, then so be it.
And I take it you can skip back and forth within the video itself.
You can.
In the wild, some people
skip back 2 minutes.
I mean,
and it just jumps back 2 minutes. So some of these features I think are pretty cool.
Use as you wish. Head off it.
I'll exit out of this. It very much, in many ways, similar to the old Apple TV, but the App Store means that we can be on it, which we couldn't be on the old Apple TV. Other apps can be on it. They're not a huge number, but more will emerge.
You know, I'm not an Apple person. I'm not an Apple TV person. I'm more, I do Roku, I do Fire Stick, but this is kind of nice. From an Apple person, if you had a previous Apple TV, would this be enough to make you upgrade?
You know, I don't think so. It's $200. So the current Apple TV is on sale at $69. For most people, the old Apple TV is fine, unless you want to add a Twit app or you want to use Siri search. There are, you know, the new joystick, and I suppose in time we're going to see a lot of great little apps that allow us to do more with this. Let me just show you some of there are quite a few game apps on here. I think, though, unless you see something that really...
This is where I would spend all my time.
Yeah, the games are not going to be Xbox or PlayStation style games. They're going to be
Which is what
iOS
I like.
games.
Yeah, I will
They're
play
casual
beach buggy
games.
racing for hours on end.
Yeah. These are the games that they're promoting. Oceanhorn, which is a fun iOS game. There's Rayman on here. Badland is a great game. These are iOS games, but they're in a lean-back experience on your big screen. I like it that I can use an actual joystick. And by the way, you can also use the joystick. It pairs via Bluetooth. You can also use it as a remote control if you lose this, which you almost certainly will. So there you go.
It's probably not enough to make me buy, but I will definitely go over to my sister's house to play with it. Make them buy their stuff.
Make them buy it.
Yes.
And then I guess finally I should probably, you can take that wire for a moment, show you this. We'll probably do a larger review on both the Apple TV and the Surface Book. I'm very excited.
This is
now,
the hotness.
I know you love your Acer S7. In fact, I do too. This is heavier, not as thin, but it is a great keyboard. Still haven't quite mastered the trackpad, at least not Apple style. It's as good as any trackpad on Windows. Apple still has it better. It does have the hello camera. You see, it's looking for me.
How did you like the keyboard? I liked the feel of the keyboard.
Excellent keyboard.
Very well done.
And I really like this detaching thing. Let me show you this because they made a big deal about this.
You can't just pull it. I saw people just trying to rip it off. You can't.
Don't rip it off.
It's very, very tightly done.
It's this is muscle wire in here, which when electrified contracts. So you press a button on here. There's also an on-screen button, and you hear that little click?
It disengages, yes.
There's a little jerk and a recorded click, which seems that's recorded, but because it happens simultaneously with a slight movement, it really feels real. And then you can just...
Oh, it re-engaged.
Yeah, then you can... It's really actually not that easy to remove it.
There we go.
But you can pull it off. This has about 3 hours of battery life. It's kind of heavy. I don't know if you've used a Surface.
I did. I played with this at Microsoft's device night. I'm not a Surface fan. I don't do the pen thing, but I see people who do. But its use as a notebook has me excited. I love the fact that some people are saying they're getting 15 hours of battery life.
Right.
I love the fact that they're saying that this is 3 times faster than a comparable MacBook. And I really like that hinge. I'm sorry. I'm not a big person on design, but that is a great design touch.
I have to say, I think so too. And let me just show you, there are a few pen applications that you'll really like. Let me just show you. The crossword puzzle is kind of fun. When you do this as a tablet, you can actually play a full crossword puzzle. Let me do one that we're kind of in the middle of. Lisa and I can sit next to each other. It's big enough that we can play the, I wonder if I've... Sometimes, by the way, when you detach it, it gets a little wonky.
That's got to be an update.
All right. They're still updating this. They're regular updates. So you literally hand draw the letters in here. I don't know if I can do this. Let me see. T-H-E. And it will turn those hand-drawn letters into the wrong letters. But okay, you get the idea.
You're drawing backwards.
Oh, and you have an eraser. Look at that. Isn't that fun? I really like the art. It comes with Fresh Paint. It comes with 2 programs designed for pen. One is Fresh Paint. The other is a PDF program, Draw PDF. But the paint is very naturalistic looking. Some people have complained about lag. I find it pretty natural.
I found it to be incredibly responsive when I was playing around with it.
Yeah, and I just love the natural media you have. You can't do the pencil thing that Apple does, the side of the pen. But
the aspect ratio is a little strange.
It's 3:2, but I like it. And you have an eraser, which you don't have. And it's, by the way, it feels like a real eraser. You actually have to work kind of hard to...
So you could smudge with that if you want to.
You could do all sorts of things. The price is high on this.
That's the one thing. I mean, it is a premium notebook. So people who complain about price, they say, well, look, if you're going to buy a high-end MacBook, you're going to pay a lot of money. This is a high-end Windows notebook. But I compare this to something like the Acer S7, which is lighter, is probably not as powerful. It's thinner. But I'm wondering, is the extra $1,000+ worth it? That's a lot of money.
I don't know. I like this. I like the magnesium deposition finish. It's it's a premium computer.
Premium
for somebody who wants to be styling with the hinge and all of that stuff. And I guess it's you're right. It's like the Apple TV. It's overpriced, but if you got to have it,
you got to have it.
You got to have it.
You got to have it.
All right, so a couple of new products. Let's go to our first, you ready? Call for help. Let's go to Australia.
I've always wanted to be down under.
Oh, Rob is here. Hello, Rob. Look.
Greetings. How are we?
That. He's got a is that a Bondi Blue iMac?
Almost, not quite. It's the next one up.
I like it. Says, hi, Leo. You've got that great twit cap. Did we meet at in Sydney when I was down there at Hart's Pub?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there.
Oh, well, I'm glad to meet you now, sir. 9:53 in the evening or the morning?
The morning.
Okay, well, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
By the way, did you beat the All Blacks this morning? I missed that.
No, it's sad face in Australia at the moment. The All Blacks beat us.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
34-17 or something like that.
Yeah, they were kind of, when I left for work, they were kind of running all over. That is rugby's an interesting game.
Indeed.
I like footy better, to be honest with you.
What? Soccer?
I understand footy. Rugby looks like it's a bunch of grown men running around and like a pack of wolves.
No, that's football.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's different.
That's true. I guess it's what you grew up with. Anyway, great to talk to you. What can we do for you, Rob?
I've got myself a new NAS, and I've got a lot of hard drives.
Oh, boy.
With a lot of files. And I want to get a piece of software that can merge all the files basically, and get rid of a lot of duplicate files, and basically clean up all my hard drives. And I'm willing to pay if it's.
So you have, okay, oh, I love this idea. So you bought a NAS that's going to be your massive storage solution, and you've got all these hard drives. The problem is there's duplicated files on these. What you want to do is run through them one by one, copy exactly one and only one copy of each file onto that NAS. So the NAS now is your official backup for everything. And then I wouldn't throw the drives away. You probably just put them aside.
The stories are still good. But Rob, on the good side, this is a problem that a lot of people have, especially with the proliferation of cheap hard drives and large USB flash drives. Most of us find ourselves with 3, 4, 5, 10 different versions of the same file. Or even worse, we get files that are slightly different and we're not sure which ones we want to choose. Thankfully, there are plenty of free options. Brian, it should be in the doc. There's this deduplication software that I really, really like. It's dedupe. All it does is it looks through whatever drives you give it, and it will take the most recent version of the file, and that's the one that gets saved onto the drive, in this particular case, your NAS. So that part's easy. Here's the not so easy part. It's not just as simple as deduplicating the data you have. It's keeping your data deduplicated. Anyone who's got a lot of hard drive space, especially if you've got a lot of NASs, knows that the challenge comes in putting it into practice. Once you've got everything nice and neat, you've got to keep it nice and neat. And there's another piece of software that I like called Good Sync. And what that will do is that will allow you to keep multiple copies always synchronized, always deduplicated across multiple hard drives, multiple NASs, even across cloud storage. So that's sort of what I have to do. And again, software is easy. There's plenty of deduplication software out there. But the question is, are you willing to make the changes to keep your files neat?
Let me ask you a question, Rob. Mac or PC? It looks like you got Mac back there.
PC. I am a Mac person, but I use a PC as my primary machine.
So the two programs you talked about are PC.
They are
Windows
PC.
programs.
Oh, they're PC or Mac. So they'll go both ways, yes.
You know, there is an old Unix actually, command called rsync that I'm a huge fan of. It's kind of a complicated program. It's a client-server program. Its goal is to do kind of that in a continuous basis, to synchronize and only keep the most recent version. Although that can be challenging. For instance, how do you know if files are identical, even if they have different dates? What do? You keep the most recent, but maybe that's not the one you want to keep. And software is dumb; it can't figure that all out for you. Some software will actually do a CRC or a hash of the file, and that's how it decides if they're identical, not by name alone. So your programs will do all that. They are a hash-based, I think.
Exactly, and Good Sync does have a option for doing revisions. So if it finds 15 files that are off by slight dates, it will rename them so you can keep them all. But again, the question becomes how hard do you want to do this? Because
rsync is such a great solution. There are, I don't know about on the Windows side. On the Mac side, there is a program that is basically a front end to rsync called ChronoSync, and I've been using that for years. And the idea is it is kind of constantly going to, I use it for my photographs because I have my photographs everywhere, and I want to keep one canonical copy of each image. So I use ChronoSync to make sure, and you can do it with multiple sources, and that way you can say take all 5 drives and find the most recent or the canonical version of that photo, and which often isn't the most recent, it may be the oldest, and save that one. This is a great program. I'm sure there's something like this.
There is.
It's an rsync front end for Windows.
Actually, Rob, let me ask, what NAS did you decide to go with?
Because they don't have rsync.
D-Link.
A D-Link. Okay, a D-Link. And you already bought it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's
you were going
too
to
late.
recommend Synology?
Synology has actually some incredible deduplicating plugins. But if you're going with the D-Link, that's fine. You just do all the processing outside of the array before you push it on.
A good NAS will have some solutions.
Oh yeah. Well,
just
Synology
like
has rsync. It's built in.
It probably has rsync. Yeah. And I think there is rsync for Windows. I'm looking at it, things like Delta copy and stuff. So there are some options out there. Rob, it's just a task, but the right software will automate it, and you'll be so glad that you have that canonical copy of everything that you don't have to worry.
Sounds good.
Good to talk to you, Rob.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Data down under.
Data down under.
Go figure.
You want us to answer your tech question and make fun of your accent? Here's how.
Need tech help? The new screensavers are here with answers. Email your tech questions to newscreensavers@twit.tv.
Coming up, Jason Howell. Oh, I'm sorry. Jason Howell's going to be coming up next week. He's going to be hosting the show. I'm going to be, get this, I'm going to be in Boulder, Colorado for Father-Son Frat Day.
Father-son. Okay,
Father-son. I'm going to wear this.
Yes.
You think that'll humiliate Henry?
Yes.
I'm here. We're going to be playing something called beer dice and then go skeet shooting. What could possibly go wrong?
If you show up to the frat party like that, you have to Periscope it so the rest of us can see.
I'm going to be thrown out. Coming up next week, Jason Howell is going to co-host with Scott Wilkinson. He's going to be in town to do the radio show, so that should be a lot of fun. And if you have a high-end Android or home theater question, that is the week to email us at that address, newscreensavers@twit.tv. Have I showed you this? You have one.
I have one of
Have
those.
you installed it yet?
Oh, yeah. It's
really
magical.
interesting. This is the Whole Home by Gamergate. It is a new kind of smart thermostat that is much more than one would expect. For instance, this is a smart thermostat that's going to save you energy. It's going to save you money by connecting with your Wi-Fi, using your smartphone, and then connecting to your Zigbee-enabled smart meter. And almost all of us now have smart meters that the utilities have put in. Well, now there's a reason why you want one, because this will let you know. See this bar here? It lights up green depending on how big your energy spend is. $2, $3, $4. What's your experience been? Have you seen this going up and then you turn stuff down?
You know, that is like the meter inside of a Toyota Prius. It changes the way you use energy. Now, there are a lot of other smart thermostats out there.
Nobody does this.
Nobody does that. This is real world value. So it's not, oh, you're doing 15% savings or you're doing 15% consumption. This says, this is how much it's costing you right now. That changes the way you heat or cool your home.
And you can answer some simple questions like what time do you get home on a typical day? You'll set it up. Works with 95% of all heat pumps, conventional heating, and cooling systems. It's something you can easily install yourself. Go on the website, though, and you can actually describe your current thermostat, and then they'll let you know what devices, what wiring you need to install this yourself. It is really, it's an energy, as you say, an energy speedometer for your house. And when the price changes, you'll also know.
And it gets you into the habit of not cooling your house during the biggest energy consumption part of the day, or running your utilities, your energy intensive utilities.
Don't do your laundry when it's the peak hours.
We've all heard about that, but this actually gives you a visual representation of, oh, this is a bad time to do that.
It's really interesting. Whole Home by Gamergate. Save energy and money and see your energy use in real time. Go to wholehome, HOLHOM.com/twit. You'll get a code there and receive an exclusive 30% limited time discount. HOLHOM.com/twit and get that limited time 30% off. You want to take advantage of that now. Don't wait, because that is a great deal on the Whole Home from Gamergate. We thank them so much for their support of the new screensavers. Coming up, Academy Award-winning monster maker Howard Berger's here to talk about how he makes his movie magic. But first, now, Jason Howell, 5 things you should know about the brand new Nexus phones.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jason Howell, and I'm pretty happy these days because I've got one of Google's new Nexus devices. This is the Google Nexus 6P. Fantastic phone, by the way. I have my review on yesterday's Before You Buy. You definitely want to check that out. Also, the 5X released. And both are pretty incredible phones, and they do some really cool things that are obvious. They also do some cool things that aren't so obvious. So I'm going to give you 5 cool tips that you can use with your new Nexus devices if you happen to pick one up. Let's start with the first one. These phones have excellent cameras on them. And one of my complaints is always like the moment passes before I'm able to launch the camera. All you have to do is hit the power button twice really fast, double tap it, and boom, goes right into the camera. And hey, there I am. Pretty neat. Double tap the power button for a quick launch. Second, if you like having a notification light on your device, you wouldn't know that these Nexus devices actually have one on board because they're deactivated by default. Go into the settings, into sound and notification settings, and turn on your notification light. That way, if that little extra light, flashing in the corner of your eye is an indicator that you just got an important message, hey, you're not left out in the cold. Third, you can actually use your device to charge someone else's phone. And that's, at least as far as the 6P is concerned, that's great because there's a huge honking battery in this phone. You just plug this into another phone using the specific USB-C charging cable, and then you'll see a little pop-up that appears, select Use USB for charging. And then you're going to pass the battery power from your new Nexus device onto the other phone, and you can give it a little boost. Speaking of battery, here's a hidden menu entirely. It's called the UI Tuner. And how you get to it is you basically have to hold your finger down on the settings button in the notification shade for about 5 seconds. When you release, you'll go to your settings menu, and down at the very bottom is a new option there. It's called System UI Tuner. Go in there, toggle on show embedded battery percentage. I do this immediately because just seeing the little graphical indicator of where my battery is sitting isn't enough for me. I want to know numerically, like, is it at 40? Is it at 60, 80%? That's just really helpful for me. And finally, the fifth tip here, Wi-Fi calling. Wi-Fi calling is supported inside here, though you have to activate it. And that basically means if you are in an area that gets bad cell coverage on your carrier, this will enable your phone to make calls through the wireless access point and just get better, more stable connectivity in that case. Go into your settings, into wireless and networks, then more. It's hidden in the more menu, and then activate Wi-Fi calling there, and you can thank me later for that. My name is Jason Howell. I'm always on the network doing Android things, all about Android App Arena, but I'm also here on Before You Buy and actually hosting next week with Scott Wilkinson. I'm really looking forward to it, so I will see you guys then. Bye.
Excellent. Yeah, the great Jason Howell III. Love it. All right, you know why I'm dressed like this? Do you know why?
You are fabulous.
I am fabulous, and I'm burning up. Please, don't wear velvet coats. They're a bad idea. It's Halloween, and guess what? I didn't know this, but everybody else is dressed up, too. Here's our staff today. We need some, do you have any fashion show music, Brian Burnett? What are you? Are you the rainbow unicorn that we hear so much about?
I'm a tech unicorn.
That is a tech unicorn. That is, of course, Jerry Wagley, who was one of our producers. Next to him, Tanya Hall. What are you dressed as, Tanya?
I'm the 80s.
You're who?
She's 80s.
80s.
She is the personification of the 80s.
She's the decade of the 80s.
Okay.
Now, we all know what Perkins is dressed as.
Where are my dragons?
She's the mother of dragons, Khaleesi. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Daenerys Targaryen. Which dragon is that on your shoulder? Drogon. Wow.
Hey, Drogon, Dracarys.
Oh, you know the command. Thank you, Khaleesi. To her right, wow. That is the scariest. That is the scariest nurse I've ever seen. And nice legs, ladies and gentlemen. That's Anthony Nielsen, one of our editors, who he designed the new T-shirts.
That's right. Yes.
Teespring.com/twit. They don't look like that. Thank God. Harvey Dent, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, it's Red Shirt Guy.
Red shirts are always getting hurt.
Alex Gump. He keeps getting hurt.
Alex Gump.
Alex Gump, Forrest brother. Alex Gumpel.
Rigel 4 with the Gorn.
It happened on
It's
the
a Gorn
Gorn
plant. Yep.
And look, he's got a phaser and everything. I hope that's set to stun.
Well, I can't change it because my arm is broken.
Oh, great. Oh, great. All right. Well, I'm glad. It's nice you guys all get dressed up. That's great. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. A little fashion show.
That's what happens in the brick house.
We've always, this has been a tradition. We've always had a Halloween.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And actually, the Khaleesi costume is pretty good. That's actually very true to form. But the Joker,
Scary.
Nice. Well
done. Now, you're not in a costume. This is.
I am. I am an exorcist.
This is what you normally dress as.
Yes.
And I think the church doesn't want you to wear weird costumes.
Not when I'm doing something official. When I go home, I will be putting on my Shame Nun costume.
Yeah.
So.
The one from
Game of Thrones. Yes, I'll be walking around. Shame. It's perfect. It's very.
That
Catholic.
is a great outfit.
Yeah.
I think we should all do that. I'll walk naked in front of you. If you
okay.
That will be a shame, wouldn't it? Joining us right now to celebrate Halloween, Academy Award-winning makeup artist and monster maker Howard Berger is on the line, founder of KNB EFX Group. Howard, great to have you.
It's good to be had.
What is
Thank
a
you for
monster?
having me.
What does a monster maker do on Halloween? Probably not dress up, right?
Well, yeah, usually I turn my phone off because everyone seems to wait into the 11th hour to
Howard,
call
help
and,
me.
You know,
Yeah.
I got like 5 of those calls this morning. Like,
my
hey,
God.
I need to get. I'm like, forget it. So, but I'm actually, my wife and I, we're going to go see Danny Elfman at the Hollywood Bowl tonight.
Oh,
This is
I
the
love
Nightmare
his
Before
music.
Christmas, and
And
yeah,
of
it's going
course,
to be great.
yeah, because he did Beetlejuice and The Nightmare Before
Right,
Christmas.
of
Here
course.
comes
Yeah, of course.
Halloween. Da, da, da. He's perfect.
Can't
That'll
beat
be a
it.
great concert. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Was Danny in what was the group that he was in originally?
Boingo Boingo.
Boingo Boingo. So he
Yeah,
performs
Boingo.
at these concerts?
Tonight he is. Yeah,
Wow.
they're running. They're going to screen Nightmare Before Christmas. And it's going to be a live performance, and
See,
I
that's
think a lot
fun.
of the actors
that
are
I
there
would go
performing
to.
their parts. Yeah, I think
That's
it's going to be dynamite.
A perfect. Wait a minute, a lot of the actors, I thought it was animated.
Well, it's animated, but you have voice actors.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, or else it'd be silent.
You've seen Howard's work in Predator, Aliens, and Pumpkinhead, the Transformers trilogy, Kill Bill 1 and 2. There were no monsters in Kill Bill.
Well, it's not just what monsters are not the only thing I do. So what it's really is called special makeup effects.
Yeah.
And-
There's a lot of
and-
blood in Kill Bill.
Oh, yes.
There is a lot of blood. And the first movies you had mentioned, Alien and Predator and Pumpkinhead, I was a kid and I worked for Stan Winston.
Oh, you're kidding. I mean, he's the legend.
He was great. And so I was lucky enough to work for Stan right out of high school. And I worked on those movies. Aliens was my first film there. And then I went on to Predator and Pumpkinhead and maintained my friendship with Stan for years and years and years. So before I had K&B Effects Group, I worked for Stan. I worked for Rick Baker. So I was really lucky. I learned from the best.
No kidding.
Now, Howard, there is this misconception, especially in sort of a more jaded movie crowd, that all the effects you see now are digital effects.
CGI.
They're CGI. And I think we've all had an experience of CGI that just looked bad. And we've also had the experience of seeing physical effects that look too good not to be digital. So how do you meld the two? Because you've got to work in both realms.
Absolutely. Well, nowadays, that's exactly it. In the 80s, which was kind of the heyday of special makeup effects, it was, before digital effects. So it was all practical. Then when Jurassic Park came out, that kind of changed everything. And I remember sitting in the theater and I turned to my friends and I just went, we're extinct.
Wow.
But we actually weren't, because we decided that instead of, dropping out of what we love to do or fighting them, we would join them. So when we do a movie, for instance, like I did the Chronicles of Narnia movies, and that's a huge combination of what we do, special makeup effects combined with visual effects. So it's really kind of a magic trick. And I find nowadays, just because of the digital revolution, as far as, what they're not shooting a lot of film these days, it's mostly, 4K and 5K. Everybody has issues, so because the digital photography shows every little aspect of everything, every hiccup. So you now want to join forces with visual effects because there's things they can't do that they ask you to do, and vice versa. So we work as one, we work as a team, and instead of how it was in the early days of visual effects where we were battling each other, now it's really about how do we achieve the director's vision, and how do we make the film as a whole work as far as the storytelling goes, and so the audience isn't pulled out of it like, oh, that's a terrible visual effect, or that makeup effect is, old school or what have you. So now when you go see a film, it's a big combination of everything.
Practicals are great though, because they could fool you, because suddenly it's real. And the choice to make BB-8 a real robot, for instance,
was super cool.
Really smart, because
super smart.
There's no question that's a physical object,
right?
And it brings it all alive.
Well, I think this new Star Wars film has a lot of real stuff. I mean, J.J. Abrams wanted to be a makeup effects guy and decided, thank goodness, to be a great director and producer and writer. And he has a love for the practical effects world. So from what I understand, the new Star Wars film has a lot of real creatures in it, like the first Star Wars films.
Or even, like, for example, go to this summer, Mad Max. Yeah. Mad Max had so much practical effects, not many digital effects, and it really dragged people in. So my question would be, how do you know where is the edge? What's the thing that makes a particular monster or a particular makeup effect pop versus become corny?
Well, I've been doing this for 33 years, so I better know. You know, but the thing is, I always say we're you know, like the director's the chef, and we bring all the ingredients to the table, and you hope that the chef will, you know, end up making everything, you know, the right way, use it in the right way, or you're going to have a deflated souffle. But, you know, we really work as a team. It's not that we're vendors or anything like that. When, you know, you'll have directors that are very collaborative, and you bring your skill and talent and expertise to the table, and they listen, and you're able to help maneuver productions to get to the, you know, the final and best solution. So, but there's certainly times we're on set and I'm like, boy, this is the cheesiest thing I've ever seen. So, you know,
Just hope it's gonna look good.
Yeah, you just go, I didn't write it.
Hey, what was it like working with Tarantino? That must be fun.
It's great. Well, we've known Quentin for forever, since the beginning, before Quentin was famous, and we were friends with him. And he did us a favor, and so part of the payback was if he ever got to direct a movie, we would do the effects for free. So one day he called and he said, "Hey, I got money to do this movie. It's called Reservoir Dogs."
Oh,
and
my God.
But we've been with him ever since. We've done every film with Quentin, and he's fantastic, and he's magnificent, and he is a genius. He's a cinematic genius. And the cool thing about Quentin is he makes movies that he wants to see.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of like, oh, I think the audience is going to love it. I mean, of course, he hopes they do, but he's making movies that he wanted to see when he was growing up, and even now. So that's why they're so cool, because the guy has so much, you know, talent and style, and he just knows what's cool, and he hasn't failed yet. So, and I don't think he's going to fail at any time soon.
You're going to work with him this summer, I understand.
Well, we just did. We did Hateful Eight, which comes out Christmas Day.
Oh,
so that was the last time we worked with him. We don't know what he's got coming up next. So,
good. How exciting!
But Hateful Eight, and that film was shot all on film. It was shot in 70 millimeter, which is unheard of.
Do you prefer that?
Oh God, yeah. I wish that we'd just go back to film. I do not enjoy the digital filmmaking.
So the HDR stuff we're seeing, the high frame rate stuff, that makes it hard for you, doesn't it?
Well, and listen, I just don't think it looks good. I really don't. I don't feel
it's too real.
It's too real, and when you see a movie, it's a movie. You're supposed to get immersed in what's happening, the image, the adventure, the story. And it's too. You know what? I don't want to sit and watch a movie and feel like I'm watching a sports event.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem with it. I just don't think it. JJ shot Star Wars on film, and Christopher Nolan shoots film, and Quentin shoots film. So it's really wonderful. Once in a while, you walk on set and there's a Panavision camera, and you're like, they're shooting this in film. This is fantastic. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of film, and I'm old school, but I just think it looks better. There's a reason why it's called film. It's not called digital or video, or I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
Howard, you won an Academy Award for your work with Chronicles of Narnia, and you made this incredible. I mean, it's the Chronicles of Narnia. You created mythical, fantastical
Minotaurs,
beasts, the
baby.
Minotaur. But my question would be, do you find it?
Minotaur when I grow up.
Who doesn't? But do you find it more difficult to wow your audiences because they've seen it all? I mean, it would seem as if every movie you want to put another layer, another level. You want to pop it up a notch, and eventually you run out of gears, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very difficult, but we try to raise. Well, we always try to raise the bar, at my studio at K&B Effects and everything we do and every show we work on. You hope that the scripts that come your way do the same thing. And sometimes you'll read something and you just know it can be better. So you go with a plan and do a presentation for the director and the producers, and hopefully they like it and they go with it. And I think also the thing is, it's not just, I love monsters. I grew up on monsters and I love all that stuff and being a makeup artist. But I love movies, and that's really where it all stems from. Like, I'm a movie fanatic.
Me too.
And I watch movies all the time. I love them. So I know what it takes. Nowadays, it's funny to be on a movie set and people, it's almost kind of hip, I guess, to say, oh, I don't really see movies. I'm like, why would you? First off, you're full of baloney.
Exactly.
And second, you're not cool. And third, you should be seeing everything because you're in the film industry.
Right.
So that always, I think, is ridiculous, because my wife and I try to see at least 2 movies a week in the theater because it's important. We want to support what we do.
But come on, you got to be sick to death of making zombies. Like this assembly line now, right? Zombies.
A lot of zombies. Well, luckily, my studio, we handle The Walking Dead, and Greg Nicotero, who's the end in K&B, it's really his baby. I have very, very little to do with Walking Dead, but Greg is the one of the executive producers, is the main director, and handles the makeup effects on set with a great, great crew. And we have a great crew at the studio that work on it constantly, making stuff and zombies and this and that. And I'm a huge fan of the show, so
it's a great show.
It is. I don't read the scripts, and I don't want Greg to tell me what's going on.
Nice.
But there's my son.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, this little zombie thing I did.
The actors must enjoy, or do they? Do they enjoy being zombies? Do they?
Well, I think maybe. Well, I find with any makeup, tell you the truth, day one is very, very exciting.
Pain in the ass to put on.
Yeah. Then after day one, they're like, this really blows.
Yeah. I got to sit there for 3 hours getting these prosthetics on.
I mean, you get the makeup on, and then you have to work all day, and then you have to get the makeup off, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
So I personally am not a fan of putting makeup on myself.
No. Yeah.
So any Halloween costume has no gluing, nothing like that.
Yeah.
at all.
Notice I'm not wearing any makeup at all.
I am completely done up right now.
Are you? Wow.
He's got heavy pancake on.
Yes.
No, but at the same time, and I remember Laurence Olivier said this, when you get the costume and you get the makeup, you can become, it's like mask work. You become that person in a very almost spooky, mysterious way.
Well, you can do anything when you're hidden behind something,
right.
And I like to work with actors that, well, I mean, I always feel like I bring 50% to the table, and then the actor brings the other 50%, because I can do a great makeup on not a really good actor, and then it doesn't come to fruition.
Right.
But I've been very, very lucky where I have, like, I did this movie Hitchcock, and that was with Sir Anthony Hopkins. So I mean, who better? So I got to do the makeup on. Yeah, I got the makeup on Tony. Thank you. I got to do the makeup on Tony, and of course Tony brought it to life, and there was his portrait of Alfred Hitchcock. But that was us working together to try to find what was the best look and what worked for him, what worked for me, what worked for the director and the studio. So it's a big giant combination of different things. So, but I love it. I love working with actors. It's one of my most favorite things. And when I get a good actor in the chair, it's a blast.
Well, I have to ask, what do you prefer, zombies or vampires and werewolves?
Well, that's a hard one. As far as like doing the makeup,
absolutely, yes.
Wow, that's hard. I would, werewolves would be cool. We've done werewolves, but not a lot of werewolves. We've done a lot of vampires, and of course, we've done thousands and thousands of zombies. So I'm gonna take, if somebody came to me and had a werewolf project, I'd like to do a werewolf.
Jump on that. Yeah.
Yeah, jump on that.
Jump on that. Puppy, all that fur. Oh my God! It just goes on.
And it would be cool to come up with something new. Something we haven't seen. Werewolf related. So
I'm really interested by Anthony Hopkins in Hitchcock, because Hitchcock has a very, very well-known physical presence, and Anthony Hopkins doesn't really look like Hitchcock at all.
No. Well, the trick was, with that, I didn't want to do a likeness makeup. I wanted to do a portrait. So it was a portrait of Anthony Hopkins, or a portrait of Hitchcock on Anthony Hopkins. And I did 6 different makeup tests. And the very first test I did on Tony, he looked just like Alfred Hitchcock, but I lost Tony. So we worked together trying to figure it out. I did another test, until I finally came to the right look that both Tony and myself and the director were happy with. And it's a combination of Tony and Alfred Hitchcock. So it worked out great. That way I didn't want to lose Tony in the makeup.
I think you did a perfect job. It suggests Hitchcock without imitating Hitchcock, and I think that's exactly right. It's so challenging. I think of the Steve Jobs movie and Michael Fassbender, who it's so difficult to take somebody we know well, and then you don't want to imitate him.
No.
You want to do a performance. Yeah.
It's very important. Yeah, it's very important to try to capture that portrait.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, it's so great to talk to you, Howard. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, you too. Happy Halloween. And if you guys are going to hand prizes out, the Joker was #1 for me.
Wasn't that amazing? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner.
They were all great. Listen, but I saw the Joker and I'm like, that's spot on, down to the
especially the mini skirt. I thought that put the whole thing together.
It's great, and the smeared red. It's great.
Yeah, he was very much the Heath Ledger Joker. Yeah.
Very much so.
Great to talk to you, and I look forward to
here.
seeing the new Tarantino.
Oh, my
I'm gonna
Hateful
be-
Eight.
Yeah, go see.
I'm going to be in.
Opening
Forget
night.
that Star Wars. I'm going to see it.
Oh yeah. No, I got my Star Wars tickets already.
We did too. We got 20 of them.
Day one.
The
Boom.
whole staff is going day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. But no, I've got a couple. I've got that movie coming out. Hateful Eight's coming out. A movie I did with Mark Wahlberg called Daddy's Home with Will Ferrell, which is a comedy. And there's no blood or guts or makeup effects. I'm just doing makeup, so that was pretty simple.
So you'll do just regular makeup, like normal, like person makeup?
Lately, I have. Yeah, I work a lot with Mark Wahlberg the past couple of years, and
he's done some amazing stuff. Yeah. He's really transcended.
Oh yeah, he's dynamite.
Mark. I mean, he is.
Marky Mark's dead.
He is. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
Entourage, and I love this new football one he just did. And
oh yeah, Ballers.
Ballers, yeah. I mean, he's really transcended.
He's great, man. He's an awesome dude.
And
so,
Will Ferrell must be fun to work with.
Will Ferrell is great.
Oh, man,
Very.
get him to sit still for a minute.
No, he's great, man. He's not at all what you think he'd be.
Oh,
he's very
interesting.
quiet, reserved, and then
You never know.
when the time comes, he's ready to go. But no, Will's like one of the most prepared actors I've worked with. He shows up dressed, ready to go.
Wow.
And ready.
See, you
I mean,
never
it's
know,
awesome.
do you?
Great
You don't.
guys.
You know?
You never know. You'd think he'd be like off the wall all the time.
No, they know what comedians aren't. You know, they have. That's all. You know, the persona, but they can't be on all the time. And those that are on all the time are not ever that funny.
They're just annoying. Let's face it.
Let me tell you. Yeah, I want them out of the trailer.
They're just annoying. You don't have to make me laugh.
You look good to me. We'll get you on set. We're fine.
Done. We're done. Howard Berger, such a pleasure. I can't
Great.
wait to see
Thanks,
the new
guys.
movies. Thanks so much for joining us and
All right.
making our
Happy Halloween.
special. Happy Halloween. Take care. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, wow. The stories that man must know from all that movie history.
No kidding. How cool is that? Hey, coming up, we're going to go ghost busting. Who are you going to call? Lloyd Auerbach, who else? But right now, Lauren Hawkinson has her favorite app for tracking shipments.
Hi, I'm Lauren Hawkinson, San Francisco reporter for The Next Web. And if you spend a lot of time waiting to see whether or not your package has arrived in the mail, I have the solution for you. It's called Slice. Yes, like slice a carrot, slice an orange. Slice is an app that you can use online or mobile, and it can show you exactly where your package is in the logistics process. So if you've just ordered that great new pair of shoes from Amazon, you can't wait for them to show up at your door. Slice will not only tell you where it is in shipping, but also which processing centers it went through and whether or not it's out for delivery. And if you're on the go and you're worried about missing it, they will actually alert you when it's been delivered to your door. So you no longer have to worry about all the headaches that are caused by dealing with the mail. For more news on apps, as well as dog gifs and links to Drake songs, you can follow me at L. Hawkinson.
She is the queen of dog gifs and Drake songs.
So.
Wait a minute. A late entry. Our IT guy, would you just come back from Havana?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's
Hunter Thompson.
We don't know who he is, but we're glad he's here. Thank you. That's Russell Tammany from Exponentia Systems, our IT guy. You always want your IT guy to look like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
Hey,
know they're
we're-
focused on technology and not fashion.
Giggity. Coming up, we're going to talk with Ghost Hunter and Paranormal. I want to say this right up front.
Yes.
I believe in science.
Yes.
I believe in the scientific method.
Yes.
And I am not a big believer in, a lot of hocus pocus.
Stuff you can't see.
But I've known Lloyd Auerbach for decades. And this is the one guy who's not pulling the wool over people's eyes, but who's genuinely interested in the paranormal and what we know and what we can't know. And you stay tuned because you're going to enjoy this segment. But first, I want to tell you how you can read your favorite magazines without cluttering up your coffee table. I remember the Computer Shopper. It was this big. I used to get Computer Shopper. I wanted to build furniture with that. I had stacks this tall of this magazine. I remember going to my grandma's basement. National Geographic filled the basement. Well, nowadays you can read your favorite magazines without killing trees. You can read just the articles you want and not feel guilty. I'm talking about Texture. This used to be called Next Issue. It's by Next Issue. Same thing. They just, I think they wanted to change the name so that you'd understand it's really about reading the greatest stuff in the world. Your subscription, it's like Netflix for magazines. Your subscription, your monthly subscription, gives you all the best magazines, and you can just, like, there's one recipe in Bon Appetit I want to read. There's one article in Rolling Stone I have to read. Wired, there's that 2 articles, Sports Illustrated, What's Up with the Niners, and this is the way to do it. You are editor-in-chief of hundreds of magazines. They're automatically downloaded to your iPad or your iPhone or your Android device, so you can read them when you want them, even on the airplane without any connectivity. You get the full magazine experience plus, so it reads just like your magazine. You turn pages, you see all, and then you also get videos and photos and extras that aren't in the magazines because it's digital. Plus, and I love this, they have now a new a feature where they will show you the hot stories that's updated 24/7, Texture's top stories and noteworthy sections, let you know what articles you want to read. So you don't just look at a pile of magazines and say, what do I look at? I declutter your life, discover new content, fits your passions, and you know the other good thing? You can pretend you're getting it for, you know, Wired and Fortune magazine, but you can still read People and Us and Entertainment Weekly. I gotta know.
Guilt-free.
I gotta know what my stars are up to. It's in the entertainment section there, Brian. Don't pretend you don't know where it is. Vanity Fair, I gotta read it. Gotta read it. Here's your deal. Go to texture.com/NSS. You're gonna get a 30-day free trial. You'll see how great it is to get all those magazines on your device, ready to be read when you'll never want for great reading material. If you've got a flight or a trip coming up, this is such a great way to amuse you. Look at all the magazines. Look at them. Billboard, Bike, Bloomberg Business Week. It's all there. I don't read Brides much anymore, though.
I tell you really brought me back with the Computer Shopper. That was the internet for hardware nerds before the internet.
Wasn't that a great magazine?
That was great.
They're all gone now. This is keeping magazines alive. Texture.com/NSS is the 21st century way to read. All right. I think it's time to. We talked to him a little bit earlier today.
Yes.
To talk to, because he had a ghosting thing he had to go to. I don't know. Maybe it's Halloween. He's probably pretty busy.
He was
Lloyd
trying to catch
Auerbach.
some ectoplasm.
He is a master of the paranormal. Yes, I'm gathered together with a paranormal investigator and a priest. What better way to spend Halloween? Lloyd Auerbach is our guest. Lloyd, it's great to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
Going
Leo.
back to Tech TV and
That's
the screensavers.
Right.
It's been ages. Lloyd Auerbach is a paranormal investigator. What does that mean?
Well, I'm actually a parapsychologist. I study all forms of psychic experience,
Yep.
and the paranormal investigator part of it is actually field research. We go to places where people have had experiences.
To kind of see what's going on.
See what their experiences are, ghosts, hauntings, poltergeists, that kind of thing.
Do you have ESP yourself?
Everybody has a little bit, and I certainly have a little bit that I've learned to pay attention to over the years, but I
Yeah.
work with psychics.
Okay. Who have
They're a little bit, certainly
Yeah.
a lot better than I am at any of
Yes.
this.
All right. You may have seen Lloyd, besides the Screensavers, Discovery Channel, Travel Channel, Learning Channel, A&E, History Channel, Sci-Fi Channel. You've been around. You've written a number of books. In fact, I'm very interested about this book, which I know at some point we're going to see more about. This is called ESP Wars, East and West. And this is about the military's use of ESP.
That's correct.
How?
Yeah. They had a program, it was actually run by the Defense Department and the CIA for over 22 years, looking at remote viewing, which is people, and these were actually military people for the most part, trained to take coordinates that they didn't know referred to anything and describe what was at that location, mostly over in the Soviet Union, different parts of Europe and such.
You can see the value of such a thing, but really, were they able to do it?
They had, the statistics from the program show that about 45 to 50% of the tasks that they were given, which were tasks of last resort, I mean, the CIA had already exhausted all the possible avenues, gave actionable intelligence. So they actually got good information. Now, sometimes they couldn't act on it because they didn't have an asset to put it on the ground, but later on they actually got confirmation on it.
It's kind of the dream of military people forever, is to know what's going on the other side of the
Yeah, and the
lines.
Russians had it too, as well.
Yeah. All right, you're going to forgive me because I'm a little bit of a skeptic.
Sure.
I think it's appropriate to be a skeptic, right?
Skeptical is good.
If there's such a thing, then we want to see hard evidence. We want to see proof of this. I mean, you're a priest, so you probably believe in all sorts of things you can't see proof in.
Yes, but you know, I did want to ask Lloyd about that skeptic level, because when you're presenting your case for the research that you've done and for what you're digging up in past documents from the U.S. government, the U.S. military, you're always going to bump into that first level of, is he serious? I mean,
right.
Because we all know this is bunk, right? This is all children's stories. This is all fantasy. But how would you bring someone over? How would you try to make someone at least be open to the idea that some of this may actually be rooted in reality?
Well, first of all, skeptical means doubting. It doesn't mean disbelief.
Right.
So we do run into a lot of people, especially in academia, who just will not even look at the evidence. So we have tons of laboratory work. It's not just the government research. We have a lot of other research that's done very, very well controlled, multiple blind, not just double and triple blind, sometimes more than that. And the hard part is getting them to actually look at the research. Forget about actually what it means. But it's very clear that mainstream science won't even look at the evidence. So it's tough to convince certain people at a point. But there are so many people who have had experiences, and we're just trying to understand the experiences.
What would you say is the most compelling hard evidence that there is such a thing as ESP, paranormal abilities?
Well, I think that we have two lines of research in parapsychology. One is the remote viewing research, which not only was military, we also had a lot of folks doing remote viewing research for the public. And basically, that was published in journals, and that research is very, very well controlled and very well done. And you have really hard evidence in the sense that you have someone who draws a picture, there's several examples in the book, of something that they could have no possibility of understanding what could be at that location.
Right.
And they draw a picture of this, and it turns out that's the specific, that's actually what's there. And that's thousands of miles away.
That's pretty spooky.
Actually, my colleague Ed May, who's the main author on this book and was actually the program director, is gathering up pictures from Google Earth from the old Soviet Union of the drawings that the guys made of the Soviet Union.
Wow.
Now they're going to Google Earth with the coordinates because they have them and compare them, and those locations are still there.
Does anybody have this ability? Who has this ability? How can you develop this ability? How do you know if you have this ability?
Well, everybody has some degree of ESP, but kind of like artistic and musical talent, it comes out in different ways.
Can it be developed?
It can be developed. We all, you know, fact is, when we're kids, we probably are fairly psychic, but our educational system, cultural, tells us that this is crazy. So you can't possibly know what these things are, and it gets educated out of us. In some cultures, it's actually suppressed even more than that.
Do you have a theory about the mechanism? I mean, how could I know what is happening 1,500 miles away?
Well, that's something that we have both neuroscientists and physicists working on. And, you know, quantum physics is sort of providing some ideas of that.
Yeah.
Ed May and a colleague of his in India have a model that they're developing around precognition, which quantum physics actually says is possible, it's very possible, that perhaps what we're getting is the feedback we're going to be getting later on. So we're not even looking at the location. It's when they tell us you were right, that's when we get the information.
See, I feel like that's more
time
of an
traveling.
entree.
Time traveling.
Well, we do that all the time with our thoughts. We time travel, and you know, we pay attention to the weather guys every day. That's
not so successful.
No. So when people tell me psychics aren't very good at predicting the future, I have to.
Weatherman.
Right.
But that's actually a really good example, because when we talk about weather forecasting, we talk about something in which we've actually developed very sophisticated models that theoretically should give us accurate readings of what's going to be happening with weather systems, but that doesn't work.
Sometimes grandma's knee is a better indicator.
Much better.
Intuition, something you can't explain, but maybe is explicable if we understood better what was going on.
We're kind of built for certain things. We're built for intuition. We're built for sensing things. I mean, we technically are capable of learning echolocation, like a bat.
Right.
So we have different potential for senses. Some people may have a magnetic sense. There's a lot more going on with us than we're willing to say.
Reasonable evolutionary drive to develop those kinds of senses. It would have an impact on your ability to survive. So I can see, how do birds know how to get how to migrate thousands of miles away? They've never done it before, but they know.
It's a geomagnetic sense.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I have to ask this. Over the last 10 years, we have seen an explosion of entertainment based around ghost hunting.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, I mean, it's entertainment. Let's call it what it is. It's entertainment. And every major network has come out with something that is paranormal detection. The few times I've watched them, I just kind of chuckle, because I look at the tools that they're using and I'm thinking, yeah, I've got one of those too. That's like the resistance meter. I hooked up to my fingers.
That's correct. Skin response. Yeah.
But you know, when you look at some of those shows that are obviously entertainment, and they're giving what you do just a horrible, horrible name.
Yeah, I know.
How do you drag people back? How do you say, okay, no, those aren't real tools. These are the tools I actually use.
You know, it's sad because there are over 3,000 that we've been able to find so far on the web, active ghost hunting groups that follow those shows. And they don't find them, they're not entertaining. Those are instructional for those folks. And it's really, unfortunately, very sad. The technology, the biggest thing I have with the technology is none of it can be designed to detect the paranormal. You can't do that. We don't have any idea what we're trying to detect. So we started using this stuff for environmental changes in comparison or correlated to people's experiences. I want to know if the magnetic field has changed when a person has an experience, and is there some sort of causal relationship, or is this a correlative? That's why we use the equipment.
Well, show us what you have.
So these are just very basic pieces, and there are more, well, I should say prettier versions of this that ghost hunters use with lights and things like that.
Yeah, that's showbiz.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
So these are EMF detectars. There's two different types here. This traditional tri-field meter, it actually measures magnetic, electric, and radio microwave. So I can use it to see if my microwave oven is leaking.
Yeah.
But it will, this one is frequency weighted, so it will actually pick up the EM fields that are given off by technology.
Okay.
So you have to be aware of wiring. Like, I found a lot of old bad wiring in buildings. But it also, when you turn the power off in a building where people are having experiences and you shouldn't be getting a reading, you do sometimes get readings in the spots that people are seeing things.
Interesting.
The other one, the natural, is actually set up to pick up minor changes in the natural fields, so the fluctuation of the Earth's magnetic field. It'll pick up people sometimes too. And it's kind of like picking up the wake of the boat.
Right.
So this one you can't walk around with. You set it down, you let it get set, and if anything interferes with the natural field around here, then it's going to register.
Like a ghost?
Like a person. Just a change in the magnetic field. It could be other natural things. There are natural fluctuations from underground water
so
and
you're
things.
careful about ascribing anything to this. You're looking for changes, you're looking for correlations, trying to better understand this, rather than say, oh yeah, that's Queen Mary's ghost. She's been hanging out here since 1506.
I can't detect a ghost with these, but if these go off when a person is sensing a ghost.
See, that's very important, because a lot of those shows say this is a ghost detector. This tells me when a ghost is in the room. You're saying, no, these measure actual quantifiable physical environmental variables. I'm just looking for when those variables are changing in a way I can't explain.
That's correct.
All right.
What else you got?
So a couple different.
You got a garage door opener?
Yeah, actually, this is a temperature sensor for a non-contact, which of course has to have a surface to read a temperature.
So you're looking for changes in
you know, people for decades have always said that there's a cold spot or a cold chill and things. We find that actually most of those cold spots are actually psychological.
Drafts. Oh, psychological.
They're psychological. You get a cold chill. They're not measurable. This one only measures surfaces, so I can do somebody's skin temperature if their skin's getting. But I actually use this more for cooking than anything else.
It would have to be measurable, though, for you to say, all right, I'm seeing something. You don't just say, because somebody thinks something's happening.
Right.
You want to be able to quantify it. Now, maybe we don't have the tools to quantify it yet.
Correct.
So you can allow that, well, maybe they are sensing something that we can't measure. But unless you can measure it, you can't say it's measurable. But a psychological.
That's correct. Yeah, and even, I mean, this is just a simple indoor-outdoor thermometer, wireless thermometer, and typically has a 1 degree difference. But if somebody says that there's a cold spot over here, I'll put one of them there and see if there's a differential in temperature. And sometimes it is a draft. I mean, you have to look for the air conditioning vents. But a lot of times we get nothing.
That's, I think, part of the difficulty of this is the human mind is easily fooled and wants to be fooled. And a desire to believe sometimes can lead you to feel something that isn't really there.
That's entirely possible. We do have cases, however, where we have skeptics, and we have other people, and we have multiple witnesses, and that's when the cases get really interesting. The USS Hornet in Alameda is a great situation where we have multiple witness sightings and equipment going off at the same time.
Interesting. Well, we have a place across the street, the Phoenix Theater. You were here last June investigating.
That's right.
What do they think's going on over there? I didn't know there was a ghost next door.
Well, there have been stories for years about different figures seen and kind of friendly ghosts for decades, apparently. And
there's Tom, our good friend. We love this place. My kids spent most of their teen years here.
Yeah, so Tom had told us about experience he had had, and we heard from a few other folks as well. I came here with a group of my investigators, or people who've taken my classes and work with me now. And what we did find, the psychics in the group actually picked up on a couple things, including apparently an imprint of...
Looks like there was a unicorn there briefly.
Was that a ghost?
Was that a mutant? I think it was a mutant unicorn, actually. Yeah. So we did find some places where people picked up on kind of a grouchy figure who Tom today said, I'm pretty sure that's my impression I've left behind, which is something we all leave those kind of impressions behind.
Sure.
But we did get a couple of really interesting changes, anomalies with the magnetic field detector when people were having experiences, mainly in the projection booth.
Is there more activity during Halloween?
No. No.
Oh.
But
that would make a good story.
Lloyd, that's why I like you, because you know, if you were a huckster, you would say, oh, yes, in fact, I feel the vibes now, the table's moving. But you're not, and I like that. You're hard-headed about it.
I'm also a mentalist and magician, so...
Yeah,
in
you
that
know
respect,
how it can be faked, right?
And then when I'm performing, I will sometimes play with that a little bit.
Yeah.
But Halloween, and this month especially, is a time where people focus on this subject, obviously.
Yeah.
So we hear more stories during October. It's not that there are more stories during October.
This is another book, The Ghost Detectives, a field guide to haunted San Francisco. Is it really badly haunted? Is there a lot
There
of
are some good spots. My late co-author, Annette Martin, was a phenomenal psychic and medium, and she and I did several deep investigations of places, and rather than just give a list of all the haunted places in San Francisco, we decided, let's show people what we actually do, a psychic and a parapsychologist working together.
Lloyd, you've been doing this for 20 years?
Actually,
more?
35 years.
35 years. 35 years in, what's your deep down feeling about all of this?
There are different things going on in these cases. Some of them seem to be really good evidence that some part of consciousness survives the death of our body and can connect. But there's...
You've been telling me this all along, Father Robert.
I'm just going to stay quiet over here.
And we have a lot of other kinds of evidence from other situations too, not just the ghostly stuff, but we also have a lot of evidence that places hold memory. And there's almost, there's a couple of models that we're playing with, one of which is a purely environmental biophysical one, and we'd love to test it at some point.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to count myself among the skeptics, but not on the disbelievers, because there's certainly more in heaven and earth than we have dreamt of in our petty philosophy. And I'd hate to think we knew everything.
Right.
It'd be boring.
It'd be boring.
Incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think we also need evidence, scientific evidence, and I'm glad that people with your skill set and your kind of hard-headed thinking are researching into this.
Thank you.
There are some hucksters out there. What do you have any other questions for him, Father?
I just wanted to know really quickly, when you decide to investigate a site, what are the things that you're looking for? Like, for example, when you're putting together a book, what makes you choose one spot over another? Is it the story behind it? Is it there's some history here where people died violently? What's the red flag that rises and says you need to take a look at this?
For the public sites, because we have individuals talking about their homes, we go out to help them. But for the public sites, it is the story, but I want to know that there are people I can talk to who recently have had experiences. You know, you can have a place that has a story that goes back 100 years, and people talk about having seen ghosts in the 1950s and 1960s, but what about the last 2 years? You know, it might not be haunted anymore. So we have to have actual witnesses to talk to, and that's where we start. We start not just with the folklore story, we start with actual witnesses.
There certainly are a lot of places around here that people are sure are haunted.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't think the studio is.
The old dough hole is.
Downstairs?
Yeah. Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons why that could be haunted. Lloyd Auerbach is a paranormal investigator, and it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for coming back and joining us on the new Screensavers. Coming up in just a bit, we're going to answer some more questions, but first our technical director, Brian Burnett's going to show you some tips for making better time-lapse videos. Watch.
Hey, this is Brian Burnett from Know How and the guy pushing the buttons behind the camera for the Screensavers at the moment. I'm going to tell you how to make your time lapses better. First, you're going to need a tripod. Definitely going to have to keep the camera steady for a long period of time. I like to use the GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition, and the reason I like to use that is because it will do stills at 4K resolution. And why is that important? I'll get to that in a moment. When you're making a time lapse, you have to remember a simple formula. The video length will equal the number of photos divided by the frames per second. So if you're playing back a video at 30 frames per second, you will need 30 photos to make 1 second of video. So when you're shooting something slow for a time lapse, like say a sunset or clouds going by in the sky, you're going to want to do a long interval of photos, somewhere between 10 to 20 seconds. If you're doing something fast, like a crowd moving around and you want to capture that, you're going to want to do something a little faster, like 3 to 5 seconds for every shot. Now, the reason I like to shoot my time lapses in the highest resolution possible is because when you finally stitch all the photos together, I like to zoom and pan around. It helps pull the eye to certain things, and it gives your time lapse a little bit more eye candy. So remember, when you're going to do your time lapse, think about how long you want the video to be, depending on your subject. Plan out how many pictures you're going to take, and record in a high resolution so you can add movement later. Those are my tips about time lapses. Brian in the studio, hit the button and go back to Leo.
Very nice, Brian. Those are all time lapse he shot while he was at Daytona Raceway Speedway earlier this year. Very cool.
He got very little sleep.
Yeah,
it was worth it.
It's hard work.
It was. It was 36 hours straight, but it was fun.
Congratulations. How cool is that? It's time for a call for help. All right. We're going to go to Thornhill, Ontario. Sam left us a little message. Sam?
So exactly how would you rip a TV show off a DVR?
Ah, the eternal question.
I get this a lot.
I wrote a whole book on how to do this, you know. Leo Laporte's Guide to TiVo, which was not written by me, but by a guy named Gareth Branwyn. And that was way back when in the Series 1 TiVo days. When you see, the problem is you got a DVR, and it seems like, golly, on that hard drive are digital copies of all my favorite TV shows. I'm running out of space. Wouldn't it be great if I could just take them and I could make DVDs and I'd have them forever?
No, that's not.
Well, you could do it with a Series 1, and then everybody caught on, and the motion picture industry and television industry said, And since the Series 2 TiVo's completely locked down. Now, he said DVR. If it's a TiVo, there are ways to do TiVo to go.
Yes, unfortunately, I think for him, it's the Bell DVR up in Canada.
Oh, he's a Canadian,
and it's
he's
even
got the cable
worse
company
because
DVR.
He's got an eSATA port that you can connect an external drive to, so it looks like it should be so simple to take that, plug it into your computer, and pull it off. And there are actually files there. There are files with the extension DVR.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's sort of a proprietary format.
It's encrypted.
Yeah. It's not great.
It's encrypted, and that's again, the movie industry doesn't want you to do that because they think you're going to do, Brian, is you're going to take those and you're going to put them on DVDs, and then you're going to put a blanket on your lawn, and you're going to sell them for $5 each. They think you're a pirate, and they don't want you to do this. So there are, like, there's KHTTG, which is a TiVo to go open source variant. If you had a TiVo, you can do that, and you get them to your desktop and do that. But really, ultimately, in most cases, it's your only choice is the analog hole.
Right, which is why we brought a bunch of stuff to play with the various ways to actually rip content off your DVR. Now, he actually wanted to create a media center, and we've done media centers here on
You've
Know
done
How.
this more than anybody.
Oh yeah. You can make it out of a Raspberry Pi, you can make it out of a Windows box, you can make it out of a Linux box. We're not going to talk about that.
Can you make it out of a strawberry shortcake?
I probably could with Brian's help. He's really good at that sort of stuff. But I looked up what he probably has, and he has a DVR that again has an external port, an eSATA port for a hard drive.
A lot of these DVRs, they have USB, FireWire, eSATA, and they're not connected to
They're not connected. It's actually, those headers are there, but they're not actually electrically connected.
Is that
to
the case with his?
That's the
Oh,
case.
man.
Which is, I love that.
Just
Thank you very much.
tease me.
But what you can do, it has both HDMI and component out. And the component out is the huge analog hole.
See, the HDMI is copy protected with HDCP. If the HDMI on the TiVo or the DVR sees any component in the whole chain, the cable, the television set, is not HDCP compliant, doesn't have that copy protection, it's just not, it's going to downgrade it to 480i, it'll stop, it won't work.
Now you can put an HDCP, high definition content protection stripper.
What?
Which will strip
what?
There's
no such thing as that.
Yeah, especially since you could probably get prosecuted for playing with. We won't actually talk about that.
You know what's funny? We bought a bunch of HDMI converters.
Yes.
On Amazon. Huh? Splitters, I mean.
Right.
And oddly enough, they stripped off HDCP.
Yeah.
See, I think there are people in China making these things. They're going, we're not going to label it that way, but if you should try that, it might just work. And so we actually have discovered that a few of we bought them as splitters. We're not doing that, but We bought them exclusively. We discovered you can do that. But don't count on that. Use the analog.
Exactly. Yeah, if you know for a fact that you can get clean HDMI out, that's a decent way to do it. And you know, these are products from AverMedia. This is one that you would put inside of a desktop. This gets you excellent capture. This one went for about $100 and some.
But this is HDMI.
This is HDMI, so you would have to have that bit stripper. This is the same thing.
You just plug this into your DVR with a regular cable.
Nope.
You're not going to get anything, or if you, at best you'll get a 480i signal. It's not going to be a good signal.
So I bring that in just to show it's a possibility, but again, I wouldn't count on it. Like you said, there's always a chance that that HDMI connection is just not going to work.
So this is good. This is AverMedia, the Live Gamer HD capture card.
Now, here's one that will definitely work because as I looked up his DVR, it does have component out, and this has component in.
That's the red, blue, and green connectors.
Correct.
And this is analog.
This is all analog.
But it's high-def analog.
It is high-def analog, so there is absolutely no copy protection that can be pushed out over that analog hole. This will capture as good as you've got on your box. Now, the nice thing about this particular box is this actually, you can put a hard drive in here, so it could be standalone capture. You could, while watching TV, don't have it hooked up to a computer, just hit record, and it will record anything running through your box.
So this is a converter, essentially, that will take component, and it also takes, it looks like it takes composite in as well. Is that composite?
Oh, that's for the audio.
That's audio, okay. Take component in and then save it as so it digitizes it.
Correct. Into a
hard
common format. I can save it MPEG-4, which I can then play straight off of any media player, or if I wanted to edit it before it goes into my media player, I could do that with a Premiere or Final Cut or whatever I want to use.
That's the AverMedia HD Easy Recorder Plus. How much is that?
These are kind of hard to find now because I think they realized what people were doing with them. They were originally designed to record video game consoles.
Yeah.
But I was able to pick this one up on eBay for about $75.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
But again, and because he lives in Canada, we don't know what the laws are, and it's gonna stay that way.
It's gonna stay that way.
Don't want to know what the laws are. Don't want to know if this is legal or not. I could tell you it would be illegal in the United States, although if you're not selling them, if you're making a backup copy of your DVDs or your DVR so you can watch it, I don't think anybody's going to come to your door and say, you know, we're the copy protection police and you're under arrest.
Now, if you start torrenting everything off your DVR,
don't do that.
Don't do that. That's bad. That's
don't
bad.
steal. But for convenience to make a copy of something you have, I think that should be completely legal. And I doubt very much even a Canadian judge, known for their harshness, even a Canadian, no, I'm just kidding, even a Canadian judge is probably going to say, yeah, that's fine. You're just a nice kid. You're not stealing anything. You just want to make a local copy. What's this?
For Mac users.
You want me to play hacky sack in this outfit? Are you kidding? El Gato ITV is another. That uses the analog hole.
Yes, it does.
Right?
Yes, it does.
Analog hole. And then we have a few of those other. Does not look.
I was like, we're going to throw hacky sacks at people?
It doesn't look like this. That's just, for some reason, we have this.
That's an incredible interface there. So you just throw that at the programming and boom, it's copied.
And,
I like that. That's a great rip.
Okay, watch. I'm going to kick it to you. Okay.
Oh, this is going to be bad.
Go get it.
All right.
Just don't distribute it. I don't know what the laws are. They might be different in Canada. You know what? They did weird things in Canada. Like, for instance, they charge a tariff on digital video cassettes to kind of make up for the piracy.
So maybe that's what we should do here.
Hey, it's great to talk to you. Thank you for a very good question. And boy, I didn't know you had props. That's nice. You were hiding those.
Of course. This was all in the no-hole. That's what we keep down there.
You know, I think the no-hole is haunted. We should get somebody down there to investigate.
It's the para-no-hole.
Yeah, the para-no-hole. All right. If you want us to answer your tech questions, there's a simple way and there's a hard way. Let's show you the simple way.
Need tech help? The new screensavers are here with answers. Email your tech questions to newscreensavers@twit.tv.
If you're a horror movie fan, you have nightmares about Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th, get ready. The official Friday the 13th video game is coming, and we're going to talk to the developers. But first, I want to talk to you about your money. And if you're planning for the future, look, you got to save, whether it's for that down payment on the first house, emergency, a new baby, your retirement. And if you're going to put money aside, please don't just put it in a savings account and get 1% interest return. And if you're going to invest in the stock market, then you've got to do it intelligently. If you're going to invest, you have to know what you're doing. And unless you're willing to spend time and energy learning and monitoring and rebalancing your investments, you might look to an investment advisor. Here's the negative on that. Investment advisors, A, may not always be acting in your best interest, depends how they get paid. B, they're going to take like from 1% to 3% of the money you have under investment right off the top. That means you have to make 1% to 3% more just to break even. It's crazy, not to mention the hidden fees for transactions and changes. We've got a better way. This is Wealthfront. Put your investments on autopilot. Let Wealthfront do the hard work of rebalancing, of reinvesting. They do things like tax loss harvesting and direct indexing that most advisors don't even know about, let alone know how to do. This is going to optimize after-tax returns, lower your tax bill, and they do this all exactly 1/4% a year. 25 basis points. And there are never any commissions or hidden fees. We're talking less than $5 a month to invest a $30,000 account. And there are no additional charges. This is very sophisticated program trading using some of the best minds, people like Burton Malkiel, Charles D. Ellis. They wrote the book on investing. I remember reading a random walk down Wall Street and going, whoa, my mind was blown. These guys know what they're doing. They have designed the software to make sure that you're going to get the best return possible. And you know, the best way to look at this is look at their performance over the last few months. The stock market's been up and down and really dodgy. You're going to be so happy you put your money in Wealthfront. So you could start with as little as $500. They have grown over 20 times, 2,000% in the last 2 years. And they now have more than $2.6 billion under management. I mean, that's an indicator of what a great job they do. Silicon Valley's answer to the expensive investment advisor. You have a mobile app. You will see every trade they make on your behalf. You'll know exactly what they're doing. It's transparent. It's accessible. You could do it for personal, joint, or retirement accounts. And right now, just for you, if you sign up to invest with us at wealthfront.com/NSS, they will manage your first $15,000 free of charge forever. Start with $500. Add a little bit more, add a little bit more. First $15,000 entirely free of charge for life. But you've got to go to wealthfront.com/NSS.
For compliance purposes, I have to tell you, Wealthfront Incorporated is an SEC-registered investment advisor. Brokerage services are offered through Wealthfront Brokerage Corporation, member FINRA and SIPC. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell securities. Investing in securities involves risks, and there is the possibility of losing money. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Please visit wealthfront.com to read their full disclosure.
Do you like horror movies?
I do.
Really?
Every once in a while. Not always, but on the rare occasion, if it's the right night, it's nice and quiet, it's still, I'm alone, scare me.
My wife ties me down and makes me watch them.
That's a different kind of movie.
She really loves horror movies. We were watching The Ring the other night.
Okay,
and I have nightmares forever.
That is verifiably
But there's one
scary.
movie I will not watch with her. I mean, I've seen it. I don't want to see it ever again. Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that whole series is a little. I mean, that's probably too much for me.
Can you imagine a video game based on Friday the 13th?
No.
Well, you won't have to imagine much longer because Randy Greenback's on the line from Gun Media, and they're doing the first official Friday the 13th video game.
Yeah, actually, it's the first one in 28 years. There was one on the Nintendo.
Yeah, but that wasn't scary.
That doesn't count.
No. It was scary because it was so frustrating. to
Yes,
play.
that's scary. Yeah.
8-bit Jason really doesn't do anything for us.
No.
Sorry.
But I feel
You don't like Mint and Purple?
I feel like this is going to be. Is it going to be first person? What are you going to do?
So it's actually third person, and it's asymmetrical multiplayer as well. So it's not a single player experience at its core. It's everybody. Somebody's going to be playing as Jason, the overpowered killer, the ultimate predator.
I want to be Jason.
And everyone else runs away?
Yeah, everybody else is camp counselors trying to survive the night and trying to escape.
Oh, this sounds awesome.
That's a fun multiplayer. That I like.
It sounds awesome. So third person means not looking down. I'm kind of behind, right?
Yeah, you're behind your character, so that you're able to fully see any kill that goes down, anything that happens, you'll see it right there on your character, right in front of you.
I'm
So
not going to
from first
hide
person-
behind the chainsaws. I know that much.
Okay, see, that I would not want to see.
I don't want to see that.
In multiplayer, that's a bad sight.
But here's the good news. If you're him, if you're Jason, you don't see that. You just see his back.
Right.
As he goes.
Right.
Oh.
Randy, I got to ask you, there's been sort of a resurgence of the popularity of Jason. In the recent Mortal Kombat release, that was one of the players you could add. And the reception was huge. Everyone wanted to do Jason's moves.
Our 12-year-old loves Jason.
What is the allure of this bad guy?
He's just this creepy character, and there's dark fantasies that run through people's head, and it's a power fantasy in a way. He's such a dominant force, and he's unstoppable. So getting to play as him, and feel what it's like to have that kind of indeterminable will that you can just do whatever you want, whatever you enforce yourself, on everybody else at the camp. It's crazy.
You guys did an AMA a couple of days ago, and I read. Oh, there's actual scenes from the movie. You're gonna recreate some of the scenes from the movie in this, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. We're definitely gonna be trying to get as much of the movies and stay as true to the franchise as possible. So we all of us at Gun Media, Ronnie Hobbs included. We scour through all of the movies. We look for reference. We look for things that we want to emulate, and our plan is to do just that. Just to stay entirely true to the vision of the franchise, across all the movies.
Now you're trying to raise money to do this, so we want to. If people want this, and I know you do, especially now that I know I can play Jason, I feel a lot better about the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
That, by the way, that's a nice feature. I think that it's a multiplayer game.
You get to be the psycho,
and you can be the psycho if you want. They should go to Kickstarter Friday the 13th. You have as we record this, 13 days left. You've raised
13 days left.
$571,000 towards your $700,000 goal.
Yeah, I believe we're just.
Hey,
we're
there's
at
Adam
82%.
Sessler. What's Adam Sessler doing in your video?
Oh yeah, he's actually working with us.
I love Adam.
Oh man, yeah. Adam's been great. Adam has been amazing.
Oh well, now you got my money, man. If you've got Adam Sessler in there, you got my money.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Well, I worked with Adam for years. I love him.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, is this going to be for what platform?
So right now we're building this for Steam. So every platform that Steam supports, awesome. PC, Mac, and Linux, and then also the PS4 and Xbox One.
Oh, everything. So how far along are you? You're raising money. Is that implies that maybe you haven't started? But I think you said from what I'm looking at, it looks like you've done a lot.
Yeah. So actually, we have a very unique story to tell. So we started out last year. We announced the game that we were at first called Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp. And we got a lot of coverage for doing that. And we actually, doing the original Summer Camp, we ended up still contacting a lot of the franchise greats. Harry Manfredini, who composed the music for the entire Friday the 13th franchise. We locked him down to do music for our game, Summer Camp.
So cool.
Same with Tom Savini. Right there.
He did all the kills.
Yeah, he did all the kills and all the VFX.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we also got Sean Cunningham. Not Sean Cunningham. We have Kane Hodder, the original, not the original Jason, but the fan favorite Jason from Friday the 13th, 7, 8, 9, and X.
Oh, and
also on board.
This is the best part. It looks like Savini kills Adam Sessler. Thank God somebody did.
Oh, Kane Hodder came and definitely choked him out for real.
This looks so awesome. So how far along are you?
So we've been working on this since we announced a little over a year now as Summer Camp, but we're just now, as of October 13th, coming out as we're the actual Friday the 13th game.
It's not just any summer camp, it's Camp Crystal Lake, baby.
That's right.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, my.
So the director saw what we were doing with Summer Camp, and actually he ended up contacting us, reaching out, and giving us the license because he liked what we were doing.
Wow, that's really a twist, isn't it? Usually you chase after a franchise, you beg them on your hands and knees. He came to you and said, that Summer Lake, that could be Crystal.
I do want to ask, you talked about trying to keep the original spirit of the movie in the game. Mm-hmm. How do you do that? Because I know there have been some translations that have not worked out too well, either because they departed too much from the movie or because they tried to do the movie scene for scene. You're trying to capture an entire series. So What do you keep and what do you throw away?
Keep the nudity, right?
Of course. Well,
yeah, of course. You got to have some nudity. You got to have the gore, the violence. But when we approach this, we kind of create a sandbox. The multiplayer gameplay that we're going for lets us set up and let you live and play in a horror film yourself that you're a part of.
Oh, I like
right?
that. Yeah.
And that's the goal. We're giving the players the tools to be able to recreate all the moments within the game. And crazy stuff happens. You can't even plan for what's going to happen because you have the randomness that is other human players at the helm of each of their characters. So that creates a lot more fun and a lot more replayability because you play it one way, the game ends, Jason kills everybody. You play it another way, and maybe 2 or 3 people escape. You play it again, and there's more and more stories to tell. There's more outcomes. There's crazier kills that happen, and everybody gets a chance to actually live and play as what they think they're going to do, you know, because everybody has those moments where they're watching a horror film, they're like, I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this, and this, right?
Yeah.
But you can try that in the game, and it doesn't often work because Jason shows up and, you know, he does what he does.
Oh, by the way, I think Ronnie got back online. Ronnie Hobbs is joining us now. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, how you doing? Hey.
That's great. Boy, Randy's just been slagging you off something.
I know. I've been listening in. Don't mean to the bus
No,
left and
just
right.
kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm really excited. This sounds. So, where do you start in this process? Do you start with an engine? Are you using somebody's engine, or did you write one from scratch?
We're using Unreal 5.
Oh,
Okay.
love this.
So,
This is a great.
excuse me. We're using 5. It's not even out yet. No, actually, we're using Unreal 4.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, yeah, I jumped ahead of generation.
That's okay. That's okay.
Pretty awesome stuff, and Randy's the expert on Unreal. So
I
he's
love
very
the
much
Unreal
into our
Engine.
team.
I just love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And then you have artists come in and do this really beautiful modeling and all of that.
Yeah, we our developer is Ilphonic. They're based in Denver. Super awesome group of guys, and we're lucky to have them. But yeah, we're the co-creators here. We're the creation unit.
So
and
you're writing the story.
Yeah, we're doing the concept, the whole general concept of the game, and Ilphonic are actually the developers. So.
Well, and that's the way it is these days, right? I mean, this is like making a movie. You've got everything from a writer, designer, programmer. It's a huge team to make a game like this. But I think the story is really critical because
more complicated.
You got a great engine, but now you want to make it great playability. What are your goals in making this playable?
I think it goes back to Randy's point of just multiplayer. I think the simplest solution would be to make a campaign where you play Jason and you go through the films and just murder people.
No.
But that's not fun, right?
No.
That would be the easy way out. So that's why I think we chose multiplayer for that reason. It's better to let people make their own mistakes or save the day on their own as opposed to some scripted event. You know, human AI is a lot more dynamic and variable than any computer AI we could create.
Yeah.
So it's all about letting the people and the players create their own outcomes. So.
When you create a multiplayer scenario like with Jason chasing after camp counselors, how do you keep that from becoming either overpowered or underpowered? Because that's the downfall.
Balance is everything.
Balance is so important in multiplayer games because you can't make one character a god and you can't make all the other characters so weak that it's just no fun to play.
That's the beauty of Jason Voorhees. He is OP. He is overpowered, and that actually provides a unique opportunity for our game because there's not a lot of games like this. He's gonna kill you. It's only a matter of when. Now, that's what happens in the movies. But in our game, you will have a chance. There are multiple ways that you can win as a counselor. You can find the police call box and repair it and call the police, and then hope you can make it to them if they show up. You can fix one of the vehicles and then either leave your friends behind in that vehicle.
Yeah.
Or
hell yeah.
Or take them with you. Or if you're really, really smart, and actually you're not smart, but if you're really courageous, you can actually find a weapon and try to take on Jason head to head. So there are multiple things you can do as a counselor. But like they say, everyone's got a plan until Jason shows up.
This is a party game at its truest because you don't have to be the fastest.
Right.
You just have to not be the slowest to get away.
You just got to be faster than the person beside you.
Exactly.
And so there's a lot of teamwork, but at the same time, you'll be surprised who turns on you at the last second.
Oh, man. That
the
can
exact
happen?
person that you thought was going to help you can just abandon you at any moment. And that's pretty awesome. And something that we haven't seen before in games. So once again, we're letting the users create their own stories.
You have the actor that played Jason in this?
Oh yes, Kane Hodder, of course. I think Randy mentioned it. He's probably the most beloved actor to ever play Jason. He's the only actor to ever play Jason more than once. He played in parts 7, 8, 9, and X. And he didn't even want to hang up the mask, so to speak, when he did. So he is the coolest guy you'd ever want to be around. He's a super awesome guy, but when he gets into character, he means business. But we wanted him to come on the game because he's a huge stunt guy in the industry. He shoots movies all the time. He's an actor. So if we're going to recreate these kills that Tom Savini are going to help design, if Jason's going to be throwing you through a wall and doing all these crazy things, we needed him to actually do it in the mocap room. So who else better than actually Jason to do kills? Yeah, we're going to mocap all these kills. So we need Kane and his stuntmen to actually recreate these in mocap because we can't hire normal actors for this. Right?
No.
It's got to be Kane and his friends. So.
Yeah. This sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
I think we need to have a gaming session here.
I think
when this comes out, we'll have the Who gets to be you get to be Jason.
I'm going to be Jason.
Okay. We'll run.
Because I get to kill you all.
Too menacingly.
Hey, I'm really excited. People should go to Kickstarter if they want to support this. What's your ETA? What do you think?
Well, we're shooting for next fall. That's our goal. Because as Randy stated, we've been in development for a while now with summer camp, and it's just the Kickstarter is mainly for the transition from summer camp to Friday the 13th and all the new assets, Crystal Lake, the different versions of Crystal Lake that are seen throughout the films, all the multiple versions of Jason, and all the cool kills. That's what that money's going to get you. So that should take us about a year to make that conversion. And so yeah, even if you can't afford any money. We understand a lot of people don't have a lot of money right now. It's a big time of year. If you can just help spread the word and just get the word out on Facebook and Twitter, that would really, really help the entire team out. So even if you can't afford to back the game.
It's exciting. Yeah. And you're independent, which is great. I think that's fabulous. Yeah.
And there's not a lot of publishers that are comfortable with everything that Jason Voorhees does.
Really?
Oh, I never would have thought that.
God, what? How could it be worse than Postal or Call of Duty?
Mortal Kombat.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
All right. So this is the game they wouldn't let you see. So you got to work on that.
Now that's a great angle.
Yeah.
That will get it some.
That'll be our tagline.
Yeah, the game's so scary they wouldn't let you play it.
Exactly. Isn't that how every video box art in the 80s was?
Exactly.
And it made you want to pick it up, and it worked for like
your
a year.
mother
like,
will not buy you this game, so don't even ask.
Yeah, it worked in the 80s. It worked big time. And then you go home and watch it, and nothing about the movie resembles the box art. And you're like, what?
It doesn't at all. Now, do you have to be a fan of Friday the 13th to enjoy this game?
I don't think so either. I mean, that's the beauty of multiplayer is we're letting you, it's being involved in a horror movie. So you finally get to try to live or die or let your decisions affect the outcome of a game. So you can take Jason Voorhees out of that picture and insert any villain from any horror movie, and it's still the same premise.
Right. But if you do know the movies, like the back of your hand, you're going to get thrills of recognition and excitement. You're going to go, no, I know what happens next. I can't wait.
I even have your tagline. It will be Friday the 13th, you will die. Just put that right on the box.
You will die.
It's almost guaranteed.
99% of the time, you will die.
You will die.
And we actually want it to be very, very difficult to defeat Jason. And that's going to play into some of the cool videos that are going to emerge from our game.
Hey, good luck. Everybody should go to the Kickstarter. Spread the word. Let the world know. Next year, it's going to be Friday the 13th.
Right here?
All over again.
Right here.
Randy Greenback, Ronnie Hobbs, Gun Media, thank you. And you know what? I think it's great that you're showing that you can make this as an independent, because I think that is where the most interesting stuff is happening right now. Not sequel after sequel after sequel.
I mean, that's, not to interject, that's the most exciting thing for us. We grew up worshiping this franchise, and that's why we made Summer Camp. We never dreamed Sean Cunningham would reach out to us. Never in a million years. So cool. We are going to take this opportunity not lightly at all. So we're excited. So we're glad to be on here talking about it because we just want everyone to know.
Yeah, let everybody know. Gonna run with it. Just don't run with a machete in your hand. You could cut yourself. You could worse than that. You're right. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Gun Media. Kickstarter.com. Search for Friday the 13th. Support.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. It's so scary.
Not if you're playing Jason.
It's so scary. We're going to answer your mail in a bit, but first, our medical tech expert is here with a smart diaper he wants to show me. What? Scott?
Hi, I'm Scott Jung, senior editor at medgadget.com. I'm also on Twitter at Scott Jung, and today I want to show you a health gadget especially for you moms and dads with babies. Now, these are called smart diapers, and they're made from a company called Pixie Scientific. You can see on the bottom of the diaper a patch of small colored squares. Now, each of these squares is an indicator that corresponds to a specific solute in a baby's urine and will turn a specific color depending on the concentration of the urine. So when the baby pees in the diaper, like all babies do, the urine reacts with a special reagent which causes indicators to change color. The parents can then snap a picture of the patch with their smartphone and send it off to a pediatrician who can diagnose if the baby is dehydrated or could have potentially a urinary tract infection or could have some sort of other kidney problem. It's kind of a similar method that's used when you pee in a cup at the doctor's office. Now, the diapers aren't available quite yet, but they're expected to launch sometime early next year for only about 25 to 30% more than the cost of regular diapers. To learn more, you can go to pixiescientific.com. And for the rest of you who don't have kids or just don't care, Pixie Scientific is also soon going to launch a product more relevant to the rest of us, and are, you guessed it, smart adult diapers. For more health and medical gadgets, visit medgadget.com, and you can also follow me on Twitter at Scott Jung.
Thank you, Scott. Scott Jung from medgadget.com. Always interesting.
Are you smarter than a poop bag? That's the new question. Yeah.
Hey, let's get the mailbag. Speaking of bags.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Something's happening here.
It's a mysterious. Wow.
That's a lot. Am I vaping now?
Yeah. This is banned in 13 states, you know. All right, here you go. Take one of those.
I got that.
All righty.
Ooh, all right. Ooh.
Are you okay in there?
So much for the Dinty Moore.
That's what happened. We microwaved it.
It's all burned up now.
All right, you start.
All right, I've got one from Robbie. He says, Robbie, I'm a video service consultant, and over the last 12 years, I've accumulated at least 10 terabytes of backup hard drives. Do you recommend I back up over 10 terabytes and growing a video to the cloud?
No!
Or should I keep piling up hard drives on my shelf?
Well, do a little math, right? I mean, what's your upstream bandwidth? And then divide it in half, because you're not going to use all your upstream bandwidth, or you'd shut down the internet in your house. So, and you want to have some internet access. So say cut it in half, and then do the math. It's going to take years.
It's going to take a long time, and it's not just that it will take a long time to get it up. It's how useful is it going to be once it's up. If these are video assets, they're only useful if you have the ability to scroll through them, scrub them, see if there's anything useful in them. If they're up in the cloud and it's going to take you 4 hours to download an asset pile, no, don't do that.
You know what Alex Lindsay does over here at the Pixel Core is they'll take a project, it's on a hard drive, they'll wrap it up in bubble wrap, they'll put it in the closet, and then just leave it there.
Yes.
Hard drives are cheap. Actually, really, if you think about it, the most inexpensive, practical way to do this exact thing is what you're suggesting, which is store hard drives in your closet.
And they're not that expensive. And they even have hard drives that are built for archiving. This one's a Seagate. This is an enterprise drive. It's 6 terabytes. 6 terabytes.
6 terabytes?
6 terabytes. This is helium filled, and it's rated for archive. So I can stick this on a shelf, and it'll be good for 25 years.
6 terabytes?
Yeah, I know. They even have one that's 8 terabytes. So, I mean, you get 2 of those, and he's storing his entire, he's got his entire, and the best part about this is it's so much faster than trying to put it into a cloud storage.
Right. It's just much more practical.
Right.
There are cloud storage solutions that will let you send them a hard drive, and people like iDrive will let you do that. I think Carbonite will let you do that. But this is how you want it. You want instead of offline, you want what we call nearline.
Nearline. And what you're suggesting too, that works, sending your service the hard drive.
Right.
But I have another way to do that, because I think what he's going for is he wants some disaster-resistant storage. He wants to be able to keep his assets even if there's a fire, an explosion, a flood. And I actually have a way for him to do that even without sending a hard drive away.
What's that?
It's this thing that's incredibly heavy.
That's a safe.
This is a safe.
What is it?
This is actually an IO safe. So this is a Synology storage array. This is a 2-drive array, but it's inside what is literally armor. This thing will survive 45 minutes in a house fire. It will survive flood. We've run over these things with a tractor. We've shot at them with shotguns.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah, and it's redundant. There's 2 drives in here. So you put 2 of those 8 terabyte drives in here, and you've got yourself some nice disaster-proof storage.
But this is something that's online, because you're running this, right? Or
Yes.
you're keeping it running.
Right.
And that way you have it online, and it's still safe in case it
But it's
dies.
so useful that way. I mean, imagine that they've got these arrays in 5 bay units. You put 5 8 terabyte drives, you now have all your assets, not just nearline, but actually online. And if there's a fire, you don't worry about it. And by the way, no one is stealing this thing. The 8 bay unit is like 150 pounds.
You know what I used to do? I had a Ready NAS, Netgear Ready NAS, like those as NASs. And I had 2 identical Ready NASs.
Yes.
And I would just swap them every week. They were the backup system in the house, and they would run. The nice thing about Ready NAS, and I'm sure Synology does this too, is you don't have to put any software on your client machines. It would reach out into the machine, back it up, and I just swap them every week. So there's one at work, one at home. If there's a fire, I have an exact redundant drive. The worst case scenario, I've lost a week worth of work.
And there is one more layer of protection that I do use, because my organization has several locations. So I have put, I know that's one of the things we got.
Okay.
But I have put several of these arrays, and they actually are synced with one another. So if I make changes on one array, it will propagate to the other
That's a
arrays.
nice thing. So now you really have backup.
I really have
you're really safe.
Yeah. So,
I do that with the transporter. I have a transporter here, a transporter at home, and they're keeping. And you just there's a USB drive. You have a 3 terabyte drive on there, and they just keep that backed up. I have backups like crazy. You probably do too.
Yeah,
backups of my
I'm
backups of
paranoid
my
about it.
backups. Yeah.
So online, don't do it. Keep a bunch of hard drives if you have to, and if you've got a bit more cash, pick up one of these.
How
bad
much
boys.
is that?
I think you can get these for as low as, depending on what kind of capabilities you have, as like $300.
Oh, that's not
and
bad.
up. Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Then you have to put the drives in.
Correct.
Here's one from Dom. I tend to be kind of tab happy when I'm browsing, and will many times have so many tabs open that I can't see much more than the favicon and a couple of characters afterward. Is there a way to create multiple shortcuts that open in the browser and open multiple tabs when you do it? In other words, he wants like a set. Like he would open a set. Each shortcut would be for a different set of tabs opening. I think there's, he says, for instance, a shortcut to Chrome that opens a window with all my favorite Twitch shows in the tabs. Another shortcut open a window with all my social media sites in the tabs. You know, Steve Gibson's a big tab fan.
Yes.
And there was a great sidebar tab application for Firefox. I don't remember the name, but he just loved it. And it would allow you to have tab sets and all of that.
We have Tanya. Tanya has about 400 tabs open on her browser.
Some people are like that.
It's a thing. It's like hoarding. You're hoarding tabs.
You don't want to close that tab in case you might use it some other time.
In a year, you might want to go back.
That is one of the reasons I love Chrome. Chrome will actually sync tabs across multiple platforms and all sorts of things. We'll have to do some research into the different Chrome plugins, but Firefox definitely has a sidebar tab plugin that will do that.
Now, I will say in Chrome does give you the ability. If you open up a bunch of tabs, you can right-click the bookmark bar and say Save All Tabs into a specific folder. And then you can go back into the bookmarks and right-click the folder and say Open All Tabs.
Yeah, open all.
That doesn't require any plugin, but I think what he wants is like an icon on the desktop that says Twit, and that opens all his Twit ones, and then one that says
You could
News.
save that. You could make that open all folder, save that a shortcut to that on the desktop. I'm sure you could do that. That would work just fine.
I'm at the point where I've seen so many poorly written plugins.
Yeah, you don't want to install another one.
Cluttering with a lot of badly written ones.
I think this is the new test to see if you're a geek. How many tabs you have open?
all the tabs.
If you have all the tabs, you're
all
a geek.
the tabs.
Yeah. Hey, Father Robert, really great to have you on the show. I love doing the show with you. Of course, Robert hosts so many shows. This Week in Enterprise Tech, Coding 101, Know How, Before You Buy. Did I leave anything out?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. He is a stalwart here, and we love having you as part of the Twit family. Thanks for doing the new screensavers with me, and thanks to all of you for watching. We do the show 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday afternoon. That's now, by the way, I have to do my math again. 3 p.m. plus 12 is 1,500, plus 8 is 2,300 UTC.
The chat room will correct you.
No, is it 2,100?
I'm horrible with time.
Because, we're going into daylight savings time. I mean, sorry, daylight standard time next week, tonight. UTC doesn't change, but we do.
I'm late.
I don't know. What time?
I know it's daylight saving. I'm not talking about that. Standard time now. You can harass me in the spring. I always say savings, and John always wants to. There's no daylight standard time. It is. We're -8. We're going to -8. So 3 p.m. is 1500 minus 8 is what's 8 plus 15? 2300. Got it?
That sounds good to me.
2300 UTC next week. Just show up. If we're here, then I got it right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on The New Screensavers. Bye-bye.